Well, hello there, friendly neighbors. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and of course, this is a special edition of Open Mic. Open Mic that I'm doing from Las Vegas right now because, I'm at Cinemacon here in Las Vegas, the big annual convention of movie theaters and the movie studios getting together to do all their stuff. And I come to this thing every year. It's honestly probably my favorite big movie event that they do every year. CinemaCon isn't a fan event. Like, it's not for fans to come and attend. It's just for movie theater owners, and hello everybody to the live chat board. It's for movie theater owners, and it's for the studios to come and present their wares to the theater owners to try to get them to kind of book as many of their theaters for their stuff. And it has been a great week that is now winding to a close. I still have one or two meetings tonight, but then I'm going to fly back to Burbank tomorrow morning. And just so you guys know, there is going to be a John Campea Show tomorrow morning. I'm going to fly out of here at 6 a.m. I'll be home in time to do the show from my place tomorrow morning. Let me just grab this other thing here. Okay, anyway, sorry. I got stuff sprawled out all over the place here that I forgot to put in reach of myself. Anyway, so yes, I'm in my hotel room in Las Vegas and do my final thing. And again, I missed the Paramount presentation this morning. I feel terrible about that, but I don't know if you can tell from my voice. My voice is a little wrecked. I wasn't feeling good this morning. I've been having trouble sleeping. I don't do well sleeping away from home. I don't know why, but I've never had a really easy time sleeping away from home and eating. It's been weird. I've been 4 days out now. I've been eating restaurant food for 4 days, sleeping in somebody else's bed, having a lot of activity. I've been having trouble sleeping. So this morning I woke up and I'm just like, I don't feel good. And so I just kind of slept in and I didn't go to the Paramount presentation, which I feel bad about. But the Warner Brothers presentation was great. The Disney presentation was great. The Universal presentation was great. Lots of great films coming, all types of good stuff. Of course, me and Robert have videos up on the Warner Brothers presentation, on the Universal's presentation, on the Disney presentation. You can just look at my YouTube channel, and those things are there now. Now, I also wanted to point out that our new podcast, Best Movie, Worst Movie, I've been telling you guys about for a few weeks now. A number of you guys have requested that I put those up on the YouTube channel, so because not everybody uses podcast apps, and you thought, hey, I'd like to check it out. Can you put it up on your YouTube channel so I can at least check it out? So I did that today. You can now find the first 3 episodes of Best Movie, Worst Movie on the YouTube channel. You can find them there. I just put them up just before we started the show. And hopefully you'll like them. And if you do, go subscribe to them on your YouTube or on your podcast app of choice, iTunes or whatever other podcast app you use. Okay. So with that down and out of the way, since we didn't have a show earlier today, I thought we would catch up and do one this afternoon. And we're going to go all open mic today. So let's get things started with open mic with this. The first one comes to us from Curtis Lopez, who writes, "You said in the Endgame clip, Cap says, let's get that son of a bitch." Indeed, he does. He does say that, as a matter of fact. If no one does, in the theater, I'm going to yell language. I fully expect. And you could almost hear, when I was in the Disney presentation, they show this big clip from Endgame, and Captain America's going, let's go get that son of a bitch. You could hear a few people kind of murmuring, language. I mean, that's going to be the big inside joke when he says it in the movie. I fully expect a lot of people are going to want to say it, so you're not alone, Curtis. All right, let's move on here. Curtis also writes, with Captain Marvel, it seems Disney might have the top 6 worldwide box office movies that may include Endgame, Episode 9, Lion King, Toy Story 4, Frozen 2, and Captain Marvel. I mean, look, it's crazy. 2019, in this year, we could see one movie studio have 4, 5, maybe $6 billion films in 1 year. This is going to be, financially wise at any rate, the most successful year ever for any movie studio in the history of Hollywood. They're going to make so much money this year, it's almost inconceivable. Almost inconceivable. And yet, it still won't even equal 1/10 of what they had to pay to buy Fox. Anyway, just keep that in perspective, how big of a price tag it really was they had to pay to buy Fox. But look, let's look at some of the automatics. Captain Marvel's automatic because it's already crossed the $1 billion list. So Captain Marvel's already won. You know, Infinity War is probably going to go over 2, so Infinity War, or Endgame, I should say, is one of those. Lion King is absolutely going to cross the billion. It might toy with the $2 billion mark, too. I believe Toy Story 4 is going to be $1 billion. I believe Frozen 2 is going to be $1 billion. I mean, this is going to be an insane year for Disney. They cannot possibly follow this up in 2020. There's no way they can follow this up in 2020, but it is going to be a hell of a 2019. All right, Hector Jeter writes, every day I've been looking at the pictures of the Thanos hot toy ever since I pre-ordered it. I can't wait till it gets here, dude. I am so jealous. I'm just kind of living my Hot Toys dreams right now vicariously through Robert Meyer Burnett, because Robert's already ordered the Thanos Hot Toys, both versions. So I am incredibly excited just to see them. I'm not gonna buy one myself probably because I'm too cheap, but I am probably just gonna have Rob bring it over and just kind of live vicariously. So yeah, man, if I had ordered that too, I'd be staring at pictures of it every day as well. Hector Jeter writes, let's see, tomorrow's my birthday and I'll most likely be doing a double feature, Shazam and Pet Sematary. That sounds good. Have a good day, guys. Yeah, I haven't seen Pet Sematary yet. I may try to get out and go see it tonight. Shazam is fantastic. Guys, Shazam is beyond all my expectations. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say it's the movie of the year or anything like that, but it's wicked fun. You got to check it out, and Pet Sematary looks great. So that sounds like a good double feature, Hector. All right. James Hoffman writes, your thoughts on the new Twilight Zone? First 2 episodes are up on CBS All Access. I like that it is faithful to the classic Twilight Zone format with Sterling-type narration. I haven't watched it yet. Now, clearly, I've been in Las Vegas for the week, so I haven't been home. And I didn't have a chance to check it out before I left. So I still haven't seen it. I'm intrigued as hell by it. And I'm like you. I like the fact when I heard that they got Jordan Peele to come on as like a narrator, kind of like a Sterling kind of thing. So I don't know. I'll be honest with you, James. I'm hearing mixed things about it. Some people are liking what they're seeing. Some people aren't. So I am going to be curious to check it out. But I am going to check it out this weekend. For sure, I'm going to check it out this weekend. The Insight writes, I put Thanos ahead of Darth Vader for best villain. Well, that's a great example of what have you done for me lately. Oh, what's new? That's the best because it's new. Thanos ain't on the same level as Darth Vader. I mean, that's cool that you feel that way. I respect that. Your opinion is no less valid than mine. But talk to me in 40 years if people are still talking with the extreme reverence and the extreme high factor of Thanos as they are with Darth Vader. And you guys seen me talk about that. I love Thanos. Thanos is great. The fact of the matter is, 40 years later, and we all still know Darth Vader's still the best. 40 years later. Are we really going to be saying that about Thanos? I don't think so. But I love Thanos. Thanos is a great villain. He's one of the all-time greats. Darth Vader level? Nah. Again, your opinion's your opinion, and that's awesome. No less valid than mine. But from my perspective, not a chance. Nowhere close. That to me is a great example of, oh, that's the new thing, so that's the best. Again, let's see if Thanos has that same enduring quality 40 years from now. I kind of doubt he will. But that's just me. All right, Snake Jerusalem writes, Super Bowl trailer showed Nebula and Tony together. Yeah, but do we know that they were on the ship? There's a lot there we don't understand. So what Snake's talking about is one of the interesting things from the footage they showed us from Avengers Endgame was Nebula was with the Avengers, but Tony wasn't there. So that throws, so where's Tony? Did he not come back? Did he come back and then he left with Pepper? Is he in a hospital? Is he, who knows? But yeah, what we've learned, Snake, is never to know for sure that you saw what you think you saw in these Avengers trailers, right? So let's just keep that question mark there. All right. Richard Karate writes, how do cinemas get the movies to show the audience? Well, they work with the distributors. They work with, like every major studio has a distribution, what's the word I'm looking for? A distribution section of their company, department. Every major studio has a distribution, and they work with the theater chains. And they hammer out the deals, and the studios give the movies to the theaters to show. Richard writes, you watching WrestleMania this Sunday? Are you watching WrestleMania this Sunday, and what matches are you looking forward to? I don't know if I'm watching WrestleMania this Sunday. I'll probably sit down and watch it, but when you ask what matches I'm looking forward to, I don't even know who's wrestling at it. Is Macho Man there? I mean, that's a bad joke. Macho Man's dead. But I mean, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know a single match that's going on. I may sit down and watch it because I generally do usually watch WrestleManias every year, but I have no idea what the matches are. Jerome Smith writes, in the Joker trailer, on the notepad he wrote, the worst part about having mental illness is people expect you to behave as if you don't. I didn't notice that. I've only seen the trailer like 2 or 3 times, and I didn't notice that, but then again, I wasn't looking for it. Now I'm going to be looking for that the next time I see the trailer, Jerome. If that is what he wrote on the paper, that's awesome. The worst part about having mental illness is that people expect you to behave as if you don't. That's cool. I gotta go see that now because that's profound and chilling at the same time. That the Joker would be writing that. Ben Rayner writes, for scariest worst for men. Oh, you probably meant words. 4 scariest words for men. We've got a bleeder. Oh, that's from something. There's something about Mary. That infamous scene. Ben Stiller as a teenage boy in the bathroom zips up his pants far too fast and gets caught. We've got a bleeder. One of the great moments. One of the most hilarious moments ever. Let's see. James Argenta writes, thoughts on Paramount presentation. Again, you can probably tell from my voice, I'm still a little bit under the weather. I wasn't feeling great this morning, so I skipped it. I feel bad, and haven't had a chance to talk to Rob about it, because I think Rob did go to it. But, yeah, I haven't had a chance to see it yet, unfortunately. I bet you anything, they probably showed a bunch of Terminator footage, but damn, I missed it. Mark Hedman writes, what percentage would you give Endgame to gross more than Infinity War, Titanic, and $2.5 billion worldwide total? I would give it a 60% chance to cross Endgame's total. I'll give it a 40% chance to cross Titanic's total. And I'll give it a 20% chance, which is a legitimate chance. 20's like, hey, that's 1 in 5. That's not impossible. I'll give it a solid 20% chance to hit 2.5 billion. You know, you got to just keep in mind, people just keep thinking the numbers are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. The thing is, everybody saw Infinity War. Was there $1 billion worth of people still left to go see it? I don't know. But I know we'll find out for sure. But I'd say it's likely, so 60% that it catches Endgame. 40%, so really good, almost 50-50 coin toss that it'll catch Titanic, and a 20% chance it'll cross 2.5 billion. So it's possible for all of them, absolutely. Jessica Tennis writes, to this date, do we know everything Disney/Marvel got from Fox to allow Fox to do X-Men TV shows? Best, worst, $1 billion club older than a year. Well, I take one question at a time, Jessica, so we'll take that first one. Disney got everything from Fox. Disney took everything from Fox. They own 20th Century Fox. They didn't just get the stuff from 20th Century Fox. They own 20th Century Fox. So whatever rights to Marvel characters that 20th Century Fox was holding on to, Disney is now once again in control of it because they own 20th Century Fox. So yeah, Disney is now completely free to make any X-Men shows, animated, live action, anything they want. I don't know what they want to do. They didn't really talk about the X-Men all that much at the Disney presentation, other than the fact that they're definitely going to make Deadpool movies, which is exciting, and that the Deadpool movies will not be under Marvel. They confirmed that Deadpool movies are going to be under 20th Century Fox. So I thought that was interesting. Anyway, but what they're going to do with the rest of the X-Men, I don't know. But they do have the rights to do whatever they want now because they own the company. Gone with the Wind remake someday writes, seeing Shazam in 1 hour also, will Gone with the Wind be remade? Oh, it'll be remade eventually. I don't know that it's going to happen in the next 3 to 5 years, but at some point, someday, everything's going to get remade, and that includes Gone with the Wind. It'll look a little bit different, but I think they're going to remake it at some point. Rodney Alexander writes, hey, John, Thanos saying, in time, you will know what it's like to lose from Infinity War, feels so much more now, and him telling whoever that they couldn't live with the failure. Let me try reading this again, Rodney. Hey, John, Thanos saying, in time, you will know what it is to lose from Infinity War, feels so much more now, and him telling whoever that they couldn't live with failure hits harder. Love the show. On my way to see Pet Sematary. We'll enjoy Pet Sematary. You're going to see it before me. I can't wait to see this movie. This is my most anticipated horror movie of the year. Even more than It Chapter 2, and I'm very excited for It Chapter 2. I'm excited about Pet Sematary. I can't wait to see this thing. And by the way, thank you. There's a really generous super chat, Rodney. Thank you for sharing that, man, and thanks for supporting the channel. Well, remember, I think he was only talking to one person. He was talking to Thor. Well, I guess he was talking, when Thanos makes that speech in Infinity War, I guess really he's talking to two people. He's talking to Thor and he's talking to Loki. And you're right. When we look back on that dialogue after the snap, it does become a little bit more hard-hitting, doesn't it? You know, I know what it's like to lose, to feel so desperately you were right, and to fail nonetheless. I mean, hide from it, run from it. Anyway, you're right. When you look back on that little dialogue in Infinity War, it does take on new profound meaning. It really does. And maybe it was a little bit of foreshadowing of where the Avengers were going to be once we get into Endgame. It's a good observation, Rodney. Okay, Alan Gonzalez writes, Star Wars Episode 9, The Force Goes Back to Sleep. Do you think it will have the same ticket problems? Oh, God. Here's the thing. They shouldn't have had these ticket problems with Endgame. They've had these big ticket crashes 3 times before Endgame happened. They knew what to expect. They know that more and more audiences are going on opening weekends. They know more and more people are using advanced ticket sales than ever before. And they've had 3 separate occasions where they've had massive ticketing problems. Infinity War, The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. 3 times they've had these ticketing problems. And they've known that it was going to scale up because more people go opening weekend, and more people now than a year ago, way more people today than a year ago, way more people today than a year ago are using their phones and computers to buy tickets in advance now. They knew all this. So considering they've had the problem 3 times before, and they knew this problem was coming, and yet they still weren't prepared for it, I don't know. I mean, really, when Star Wars Episode 9 comes, it shouldn't be an issue. They should have had enough experience with this now. Now it's 4 movies it's happened with. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Infinity War, Endgame. Now it's happened 4 times. So there shouldn't be any problems when Star Wars Episode 9 or Lion King or whatever else. There should be no problems. But there shouldn't have been for Endgame either. That's the thing. That's the frustrating thing. What would you say it is you do here if you can't do that one thing? Now, I acknowledge it's a huge issue. But it's already happened 3 times. They knew it was coming. They had a year to prepare for it, and they still dropped the ball. So I don't know. It shouldn't be an issue. It should not be an issue for Star Wars Episode 9. But after seeing what happened with Endgame, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it shouldn't be. Let's see. Topher Rocks writes, great work this week. Thank you so much, Topher. Do you think Netflix should do a yearly convention to promote their original content? I think it would boost subscriptions. Nah, I really don't, because how many people could go to that? First of all, how many people would go to it? I'm not sure that there would be many. You do Star Wars, you can do that because it's a beloved franchise. You can do Comic Con because that's all the most beloved franchises. You can do these things. You can do D23 because you're Disney, and you got Marvel, and you got Pixar, and you got Star Wars. You can do that. I'm not quite sure who goes to a Netflix convention. You know? I'm not sure who goes to a Netflix convention. And even if you have it, how many people can actually go? And would that actually have any impact on subscriptions? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't think it would. But that's just me. Maybe if I thought about it more, Topher, I would see it. But right now I don't off the top of my head. All right, Ben Rayner writes, what if Warner Brothers, at the end of Joker, the Joker kills the Waynes, including Bruce? Do you think Warner Brothers would do that? That way it stays a one-shot film. Thoughts? Well, first of all, Ben, it stays a one-shot film because they're making it a one-shot film. They don't have to kill Bruce Wayne to make sure it's a one-shot film. It's their movie. They're making it a one-shot film whether Bruce lives or dies. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So they don't have to do that at all. But being a one-shot film, could they do that? Actually, yes. Think about it. When you're watching Inglourious Basterds, one of the things that you know is that watching Inglourious Basterds is that the plan to kill Hitler won't work at the end because we know Hitler doesn't die there. So in Inglourious Basterds, it's all about this plan to kill Hitler. And you know, okay, well, at the end of the movie, they won't kill Hitler, but it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. But what they do, they killed Hitler. Completely unhistorical, completely doesn't happen in real life, but they killed Hitler. So being a one-shot movie, that doesn't mean we need to kill Bruce Wayne to keep it a one-shot movie. No, they can keep him alive and be a one-shot movie, but because it's a one-shot movie, it gives them the freedom to do that if they want. Because, I mean, look, how shocking would that be? Because just like in Inglourious Basterds, if they say like Joker at some point comes up with a plan, I don't know if this is in the movie or not, I'm just speculating here. But if at some point in the movie Joker comes up with a plan to kill the Waynes, including Bruce, your mind, or a lot of the audience will go to, okay, so he's going to succeed killing the parents, but he's going to fail killing the kid, Bruce, because we know Bruce goes on to be Batman. And then they use that assumption, turn it on its ear, and Joker does kill a young Bruce. It would shock everybody. I don't think they're going to do that, but it would shock everybody. So they have the freedom to do that, but they don't need to do it to keep it a one-shot. It's their movie. They can keep it a one-shot whether or not Bruce lives or dies. Rodney Alexander follows up again with a really great super chat. Thank you, Rodney. Hey again, did you get a chance to watch the special look trailer of Endgame? I did. The composer did an awesome job with that music. Sounds so menacing. It gives me chills. Plus, I wanted another where Thanos said he won. This is epic. Yeah, the work is over or completed, whatever he says in it. It is a great little 30-second clip. And it's just Thanos gloating. The work is over. I won. And what I'm about to do, I'm going to enjoy very much, right? I still think that happens in the first part of the movie. Like, not the first 10 minutes of the movie, but I think that all happens in the first, hour of the movie. First hour and 15 minutes. Now, I could be very, very wrong about that. I'm not staking any claim on that. I'm just saying as a fan, speculating about it, I think they deal with Thanos in the first hour of the film. And then something else comes up. I don't know that that's the case. No insider information. This is just me speculating as a fan, but you're right. Anyway, that one TV spot was really, really good. Coming on the heels of the 1-minute trailer they put out, then they put out this 30-second spot. Oh, God, guys. It's 3 weeks away. 3 weeks away. And we're all going to be watching Avengers Endgame. It's kind of crazy to think about that. Carl Adams writes, as someone that discusses TV and movies, how will you handle so many streaming services, cable networks, and cinema, content overload? Well, here's the thing, Carl. One of the great things about working for myself is that I don't have to cover anything I don't want to cover. That's the great thing. You know, when I was at AMC, I kind of had a responsibility to make sure I saw everything, even the crap that I knew looked like crap and I had no interest in. And that was a little bit frustrating. That carried over a bit to the next place I worked after that. But one of the great things, again, about working for myself and just doing this all on my own is that I can see what I want to see and I can skip what I want to skip. And I make my channel about me talking about the things I love. And if there's some obscure show on Starz or some obscure show on Crackle or some obscure show on CBS All Access that I'm not interested in, I don't have to watch it to cover it. I can watch what I want to watch, what I like to watch, and then I can talk about those things. And that's one of the great advantages of working for yourself. So I don't feel the need or the responsibility to see everything all the time. I mean, you guys, I obviously watch most movies. I do try to catch as much TV as I can. I'll certainly try to watch the popular stuff if you know everybody is watching and wants to talk about it. But yeah, I don't really feel the need to. I have to watch everything, so I'll probably be a little bit insulated from the content overload. I'll probably be insulated from it. But thanks you for thinking about that, Carl. All right, Hector Jeter writes, who would win in a fight? Aladdin's magic carpet or Doctor Strange's cape? I have a feeling that one would probably be a one-sided affair, probably the cape. I think the magic carpet is meant to fly. I think the cape is meant to be a very powerful magical item that can probably do a lot of harm. So my guess, strictly as a fan, is I think Doctor Strange's cape would win that fight. I don't think carpet is meant to be a fighter. Let's just say that. Okay, Cobra writes, saw Pet Sematary early. It's better than it, in my opinion. I'm so excited to hear you say that, Cobra, because I am even more excited for this movie than I am for It Chapter 2. And oh, by the way, guys, they showed us a clip for It Chapter 2. Rob and I talked about it the other day. They showed us like this 5-minute scene with Jessica Chastain that is so freaky and so cool. And I don't know for a fact that they're going to use that clip in their marketing, so I don't want to give it away. But all I'll tell you is it involves Jessica Chastain and an old lady. This old lady and Jessica Chastain are together, and something happens. And we're all of us are sitting in this theater at Caesar's Palace here going, oh my God, it was some of the creepiest stuff ever. Anyway, but I am even still looking forward to Pet Sematary more, so I'm really excited to hear that you say that you liked it, Koba. Okay. Orange Hand writes, did Strange's hands fully heal by the time of Infinity War? I don't think so. I don't think his hands will ever fully heal. Unless he uses magic to heal them. I don't know. But I think to this day, Doctor Strange can't perform. I think he can function. Doctor Strange can function. Doctor Strange can completely function. And the neat thing is about Doctor Strange was that being able to function, though, like he can do day in, day out. He even got to the point that he can even kind of subtly, little bit, shave himself a bit, right? He can shave himself a little bit. He can do these sorts of things. But the delicate work of being able to go in and so delicately operate on a human spine, right? Operate on another human being, operate on a human spine is on another level of the absolute steadiness that you got to be able to have for your hands, right? So I think, and I don't really have a lot to back this up with at all, but what I think is that Doctor Strange got himself to the point and his hands to the point and that he can just do normal daily things. He can function with his hands with basic things, but that he can't do, what's the words I'm looking for here? Oh God, I'm tired. It's been a long week in Vegas. That he can't do the meticulous work of doing surgery. Now, the one asterisk to that, right, is that in Doctor Strange, in the first Doctor Strange movie, he came across the guy who has a spinal injury that he shouldn't be able to walk, but he constantly uses magic to make himself being able to walk. And then, of course, at the end, Mordo tracks him down and kills him for using magic. So maybe you could make an argument that Doctor Strange uses magic to steady his hands, but my thought at this point, and it's just a thought, is that even in the movie, even in the MCU, even though he's on the borderline of becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, I have a feeling he still doesn't have 100% perfectly steady hands. I think he can function with them, but he wouldn't be able to do surgery with them. At least that's what I think. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. Anyway, let's move on here. The next one comes to us from Terrell Wise, who writes, will Far From Home, where am I at here? Will Far From Home be the first Spider-Man movie to hit 1 billion? I think so. Now, I speculated that a little while ago already. That, look, Spider-Man Homecoming made over $800 million, right? Its first one out of the gate in the MCU made over $800 million. Everybody loved it. It got a huge reception. Then you go into Infinity War. Peter has one of the best moments of the movie. I don't want to go, Mr. Stark. Don't worry, kid, they already signed you for another movie. Don't worry, you'll be back. Anyway, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Anyway, and all the audiences ate it up and we all loved it and blah, 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 blah. So you take the success of Homecoming, you compound that with the fact that the audiences loved it. You compound that with the fact that the critics loved it. You compound that with the fact that everybody loved him in Infinity War. And then you compound that with the fact that Far From Home is coming on the heels of Endgame. I believe it's going to hit $1 billion. I do believe Spider-Man will be the first Spider-Man, Far From Home will be the first Spider-Man film to hit $1 billion. All right. Jeannie Judd writes, greetings, John. We will miss you at Star Wars Celebration. Oh, thanks so much for that, Jeannie. But I understand why you aren't coming. My game plan, though, is to take earphones so I can listen to you during those lines. Well, thank you so much for that, Jeannie. I appreciate that. And yeah, I made the decision about 6 months ago not to go to Star Wars Celebration this year for my own reasons. You know, it's got kind of turned off by how toxic the Star Wars fandom had kind of become. And I'll get over it. But I just decided for myself this year not to go. But I had a blast at Star Wars Orlando. At Star Wars Celebration Orlando, I had a blast. And I'm sure all of you who are going to Star Wars Celebration Chicago will have a great time. I'm sure you'll have a marvelous time there. It just wasn't something I could go to. But yeah, the lines there are crazy. Like they're Comic-Con level or more. Crazy. So yeah, bring your headphones, listen to me, listen to some of your other favorite stuff, and just keep yourself, engaged while you're in those long lines. My best thoughts to you, Jenny. Have a great time in Chicago. Okay. Chris Hamilton writes, hey, John, since my name is Chris, just wondering, who is your favorite Hollywood Chris? Pratt and Rock get my vote. Whoo. I mean, it's hard not to like Chris Pratt. That dude's super nice. Really, really super nice. So I don't know what you mean by my favorite, like just my personal favorite, or who do I think is the better actor out of all of them, or whatever. I think my favorite is Pratt, just because he's such a nice. I've met him and talked to him a number of times, and he's always been so nice. They all have been. Boy, one of my favorite moments ever in my career was sitting down and interviewing. Some of you have seen this video. The video with me sitting down with Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans, and it was just 7 minutes of nonstop laughing. Like, it was nuts, but I enjoyed it. It was incredibly fun. I actually think Hemsworth might be the best actor out of all of them. Pine's really good too, but I think Hemsworth might be the best actor out of all of them. So I'll for my favorite person out of them, I'll go Pratt. Who I think is the best actor out of all of them, I'll go Hemsworth. But Chris Pine is awesome. Chris Evans is awesome. I love all these guys, but yeah, I'm going to go Pratt and Hemsworth. Okay, let's see here. Alan Gonzalez writes, maybe when they go fight Thanos, he sends the Avengers to a different timelines or dimensions. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, again, I hope not. I mean, that's really cool for like nerdy, which is all of us, but it's really cool for the nerdy little. Like if you want to do a little nerdy CW thing with, look, we have 200 Earths and blah, blah, blah. If you want to do that, it's fine. But I don't know that kind of stuff will go over with the general movie-going audience. And that's the one great thing about the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they've done a great job of is bringing these like comic book characters, but presenting them in such a way that non-comic book people can get on board with and really dig, right? And I just wonder if, like we're going to have 45 different dimensions and we're going to parallel all this and 16 different timelines, blah, blah, blah. I just wonder if that is pushing it too much to the point that the average movie-going audience goes, okay, this is just a little too nerdy for me. This is a little too comic booky for me. You know what I mean? And Marvel's always done a really good job, and Kevin Feige's done great at trying to keep a good balance there for that. But you might be able to make an argument that, hey, we're 20 films in now, 20 plus films in now. We think we've conditioned the audience enough that maybe they can handle doing that. And maybe they can. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to do that, but it's possible, Alan. Darth Impact writes, I got it. In the Endgame trailer where the 4 Avengers are outside the compound looking up, and there's a gap between them, and people think it's Captain Marvel, I think it's Pepper Potts. Okay, so here's the thing, Darth. One of the things that I've been saying the last couple of days is if you have a theory about something being a misdirect, you have to stop for a second and ask, what is the purpose of the misdirect? So if you think Pepper may be standing there with him, my question would be, what's the purpose of digitally hiding Pepper? What's the purpose of that? We've already seen her in another trailer, and her standing there with them certainly wouldn't signify anything important, right? Good or bad. Like in the Infinity War trailer, a couple of big massive misdirects. The Hulk stuff, what was the purpose of that misdirect? They didn't want us to see that drama coming between Bruce and Hulk. That was important. They wanted to hide that drama. There was the purpose of that. The misdirect where Thanos' hand comes down on Captain America, and it shows in the trailer 2 of the stones are missing. Well, we know what the purpose of that misdirect was. The purpose of that misdirect was to not let us have a sense about where in the film this happens and how far does Thanos get in collecting the stones. That's a big narrative point, right? So we knew that was a purpose of that misdirect. We know Pepper's in this movie. We know she's on Earth. We know her and Tony reconnect because we've seen that in the trailers already. So while it's possible that they're CGIing out Pepper there, my question would be, well, what's the purpose of that? What could that possibly signify or give away? I don't know. I don't. So that's why I kind of lean away from that one, but maybe the meaning of that and the purpose of that misdirect will become apparent in the movie itself. So we'll find out in 3 weeks, Darth. All right, a spectator writes, one of the things I enjoy, Utiv? One of the things I enjoy, Otuv, the Joker character, is how even the most ruthless mobster can't intimidate him. I hope the include a bit of that element in Joaquin's Joker. I don't know. After seeing that Joker spot, which is so good, that Joker spot was everything deep down in my heart of hearts I wanted that Joker spot to be. Oh my God, it's so good. So good. Anyway, but one of the things that it did is I have no idea. This character is so unbalanced and so damaged. Just you can tell from the trailer how much this guy's, all it takes is one bad day, and, Arthur Fleck has had many, many bad days. And they've kind of portrayed it that his character is so broken, is so damaged. I have no idea what they're going to bring to him outside of that. Really, they could do anything. Maybe he's just angry. Maybe he is fearless. Maybe, I don't know. But that's one of the great things about that trailer, man. It's just, it gave you this character that if you can't say anything else, you can say, this guy would be completely unpredictable. He's been beaten up and spit on and attacked and abused and neglected and overlooked and made invisible and all this kind of stuff. And what will that do to him? I'm dying to find out. That trailer was so good. Anyway, Jay Meister 25 writes, keep up the awesome work. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you, Jay Meister. I appreciate that, man. Braxis 616 writes, got tickets for a double feature of Infinity War and Endgame and IMAX. Laser with Endgame starting at midnight opening day. Can't wait to see it and also see your review. Well, I can't wait to see it. I hope it doesn't suck. Please be more Civil War than Iron Fist. Please be more like Civil War than like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Please be more like Infinity War than like Iron Man 2. Please don't be bad. Please don't be bad, because hearts will break everywhere if they do. Yeah, I'm not down for the double feature. I can totally see the appeal of doing the double feature. And I think that's great. But I'm saying the last couple of days, because a lot of people ask me, John, you must be doing the double feature, right? And I'm like, actually, no. And they would say, why? I say, well, because number one, this year I've seen Infinity War a dozen times. And I have it on at home. I own it. So, I can pull it up on my Google Play Store right now and start watching it right now if I want. Do I really want to be sitting in a movie theater for 6+ hours when one of them is for a movie I've already seen a dozen times this year and I can watch from home. Because really, me and Rob talked about this the other day. If I were to do that, I would just be watching Infinity War and going, come on, just get to Endgame. Come on, I'd be looking at my watch, just get to Endgame, come on, So I just got for that, but I totally see the appeal of it, and I hope you have a marvelous time, dude. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, my voice is kind of going already. Darth Impact writes, okay, we got Cassie Lang, Faith Barton, Monica Rambeau. I'm thinking new Avengers in the future. I don't know. Look, all we know about the future of the MCU right now, Darth, is that Kevin Feige has said on numerous occasions that kind of Captain Marvel will kind of be leading the way for the MCU post-Avengers 4. He didn't specifically say she's going to be the leader of the Avengers. He said she's going to kind of be leading the way for the MCU. She's going to kind of be the figurehead of the MCU moving forward. What that looks like, how that shakes out, how much personnel turnover are they going to have, how different or similar will it be, I don't know. The thing about Kevin Feige is in the past, he's made a lot of big statements that maybe to him were that big, but then when it comes to fruition, you realize, that wasn't that big of a deal. So I don't know, maybe this will be a monumental shift or not. So I don't know. What I do know is this, is that we've had 50 years of the Avengers. Of a certain core of Avengers, there have been a lot of different people in and out, but when you think of the Avengers for about 50 years, there's been kind of the same set of people in your head, right? We've only had the Avengers on the screen for less than maybe 15% of that, maybe 20, since the first Avengers movie, right? So I don't know if they should feel the need to do big, massive turnover already. Maybe they'll just do small incremental turnovers as they move forward. Or maybe, as Kevin was suggesting, they do a big, massive shift, and maybe it looks kind of like what you're pointing out there, Darth. We don't have to wait much longer to find out, though. KW Garrett 83 writes, I have a 6-part theory discussion on this alleged Tony Cap handshake. First, let's discuss Cap's fingernail length in the MCU canon. Just kidding. Off to Shazam. KW, go have a great time at Shazam. It's awesome. Like, not good, it's awesome. I had a wonderful time in that movie. It's so entertaining, crowd-pleasing. You're just going to be smiling ear to ear. The first 10 minutes aren't so great, but once you get past the first 10 minutes, you're going to be grinning ear to ear the entire film. Now, and I said it before, it's not a competition, and I really like Captain Marvel, but I think Shazam's even better. They're very, very different movies, and they're both great. But if I had a choice to go see Shazam right now or watch Captain Marvel again right now, I'm probably taking Shazam. I would watch both, but if I could only do one, I'd probably watch Shazam. So have a good time, man. All right. Rich Karate writes, do you think if Hulk returns in Endgame, he will be great? I don't. I think I know they do a lot of stuff. Gray Hulk, Red Hulk, Mr. Fix-It. They do a lot of stuff with Hulk in the comics, and they have over the years. Some good stuff and some not so good stuff. But no, at the end of the day, I think he's going to be green. I mean, anything's possible. But if I had to put $5 on it right now, I'd probably guess he's going to stay green. Jorge Sosa writes, maybe Tony and Scott are working on the quantum suit. Yeah, so the question is, why aren't Tony and Scott there? Number one, I don't think Scott's come out of the quantum realm yet, so I don't think Tony and Scott are off working on quantum suits. Two, my theory about why isn't Tony there, I think Tony's in the hospital. Because despite his magic nanotech that can do anything with a wish and some fairy dust, and it's not mechanics anymore, it's not engineering anymore, now it's magic nanotech. Anyway, I hate that. Love Iron Man, but I hate the fact that now his suit is just basically magic. It's a magic suit now. It's just magic. Well, we can't possibly explain how Iron Man's suit can do this, and this. Just say it's nanotech. Nobody knows what that means anyway, so just anything's possible. Call it nanotech. Tony gets stabbed through the belly, that would kill anybody? No problem. Say his nanotech can spray magic nanotech foam into the gaping hole in his abdomen, and that makes everything better. Anyway. I love Iron Man, I do. I love the Iron Man character in these movies, but that is one thing that bugs me, is the magic nanotech. Just bothers me. Anyway, getting back to the question. So no, I think Tony's in a hospital, at least he should be, and I think Scott hasn't come out of the quantum realm yet. I think Scott's still stuck in the quantum realm when that part of the movie happens. So Maybe yes, maybe no, Jorge. We'll find out soon. Richard Karate writes, over under 30% that now Conor McGregor has retired from the UFC. He appears in WWE. The problem with Conor McGregor, besides the fact that he's a raging asshole and lunatic and idiot, is the fact that he's small. You can get a, say, female UFC fighter, right, to go over because she'll still be the size of UFC female wrestlers. Conor McGregor's a small guy, relatively speaking to professional wrestlers. Could he be believable in a WWE? I don't know that he would work that way. I don't know that he would work. But I certainly don't think it's an impossibility. But, like, do I think he'll be the next Ronda Rousey? I don't think so. But I'll take under 30%. Not impossible. He's got a lot of personal problems, too. But I'll take the under 30% on that. Jay Meister 25 writes, do you really think Endgame can make $300 million opening weekend? More and more people are jumping on board with this projection. I, however, don't think so. Okay, so here's the problem. It's funny, Robert is the most optimistic guy in the world when it comes to box office, but Robert doesn't think it's going to hit $300 million either. And Robert's the guy who's like, every movie can make every bit of all the money, And sometimes he's right. But even he doesn't think Endgame will make $300 million opening weekend. And then people say, but John, the advanced ticket sales are like double, triple, quadruple. That's only because we now live in an era, and I'm telling you guys this all the time. I've been saying this for the last 2 years. The rate of adoption of people taking on and using apps and the computers and stuff like that to buy their movie tickets in advance has grown exponentially in the last year. It's not that 3 times as many people are going to be showing up to Avengers Endgame opening weekend. It's just that 3 times as many people now will use apps to buy their tickets in advance right away. Far more than they would have a year ago, even 6 months ago. The movie's 3 hours long, which means that's going to limit how many times a theater can play the movie, right? We knew that. We all knew that already going in. So the question becomes, was there $50 million more worth of people? Because remember, Infinity War set the record at $250-something million, right? The question was there $50 million left of people who didn't go see it? To come see it? I don't know. So my guess right now is that no, I do not believe that Avengers Endgame will make $300 million opening weekend. And Robert doesn't either. I just don't think there's enough screens for it. Like, that's the thing Robert points out. There's just not enough screens and not enough seats and not enough time, because the movie is 3 hours. There's not enough time to squeeze in enough showings of it to make up that extra $50 million on top of what Infinity War made. Like, once the theater's full, the theater's full. Theater's full. You can't sell any more tickets. Theater's full. So, and they can only play it so many times. You say, but John, the theater's going to run at 24 hours. Yes, but they did that for Infinity War 2. But at 2 hours and something minutes, it could play more times in 24 hours than Endgame will be able to play at 3 hours plus. Do I think it is impossible for Endgame to make $300 million opening weekend? No, I don't think it's impossible. It is possible. It is. Do I think it's likely, though? I don't think it's likely. Will I fall out of my chair in shock if it does? No, won't fall out of my chair in shock if it does. I think there's a chance. I do. There's a chance. But if I had to say, is it likely to hit $300 million? There's just too many things working against it. And all the advanced ticket sales don't really mean anything, because all that means is that more people are buying their tickets in advance once they become available than they did a year ago. And guess what? Next year, even more people will be adopting the whole idea of using apps and their computer to buy their tickets in advance online than they are today. So we might see another movie come out and break the first 24-hour ticket sales record of Endgame. We might see another movie in the next year and a half that does that. I don't know how likely that is, but it's possible because now more people are doing it. So, possible? Yes. Likely? I'm going to guess no. And even the most optimistic guy in the world, Robert, he doesn't think so either. just for all the reasons we listed already. Let's see. Let's see here. Hector Jeter writes, happy 5th anniversary to Captain America Winter Soldier. Yeah, it's hard to believe it's been that long, right? And to some people, a lot of people feel that's the greatest comic book movie ever made. I don't. I love it, though. It's awesome. But there are a good number of people who think that might be the greatest comic book movie ever made. Let's see. Roy L. writes, hey, John, hopefully the Civil War... Oh, the CW. Hey, John, hopefully the CW will take another chance on Wayward Sisters now that Supernatural will be ending next season. Fingers crossed. I doubt it. I like the idea of the Wayward Sisters. I did, which for those of you who don't know was going to be a spin-off of a couple of the side characters from Supernatural. They were going to be called the Wayward Sisters, and they were going to make a spin-off series of it. And I thought it could have worked. The problem is, I think for that show to work, Supernatural needs to be on the air. I think one directly feeds the other. And I think the whole reason, honestly, because they were going to do this show and then they changed their minds. I honestly think the reason they decided not to do the show was because they knew that next season was going to, they realized in the midst of planning for Wayward Sisters, they went, oh, guys, looks like 15 is going to be the final season. And then probably the thinking was, we don't know if the show can work if Supernatural is not also on the air supporting it. So I'm going to guess no, but it would be cool if they did, Roy. It would totally be cool if they did. Let's see. Marcus writes, John, do you like chicken parmesan? I prefer veal parmesan, to be honest with you. But chicken parmesan's good. Chicken parmesan's good, but I prefer veal parmesan. Roy L. writes, the main reason why I want you to see Teen Titans Go to the movies is because Robin wants a movie about him and your stance on why there shouldn't be one, plus an unexpected cameo you will enjoy. Can an animated movie have cameos? Really? I don't know if I would ever consider a cameo in an animated movie an actual cameo, unless it's Stan Lee. That's a possibility. Yeah, so... okay, I mean, look, I honestly don't have a lot of desire to see Teen Titans Go to the movie. I thought the trailers were abysmally horrible. I basically think most of Marvel and DC's animated stuff is total crap. But I know there's a lot of you guys that love that stuff, and I'm in the minority, and that's fine. It just doesn't work for me. I find most of Marvel and DC's animated stuff to be borderline unwatchable. So I didn't really have any interest. But then Teen Titans Go to the Movies came out, and a few people actually said, hey, John, this one's actually pretty good. So me and Ann thought, ooh, we want to see it then. We'll check it out. But then Ann had to fly across the country for work. And then when she came back, she said, hey, should we go see Teen Titans Go to the, or should we stay home tonight and watch Teen Titans Go to the movies? And then said, actually, I watched it on the plane and it sucks. So, but a lot of you guys like it, but there went my incentive to watch it. I'm sure I will watch it at some point. I'm sure I will sit down and just pop it on and watch it and see what it is all you guys see in it. But I don't have a lot of motivation to do it right now. That's the only problem. All right, thanks for that, Roy. Mr.47 writes, is Ashley enjoying her vacation? Oh, I have no idea. But it's not like, look, Ashley working for me is not like a big job. She works 2 hours a day. Really an hour and a half. She gets to, with or without pants, like the rest of us. She does it from home. She just sits in front of her webcam and talks for an hour and a half, which is not the easiest job in the world. It's more, everybody thinks it's easy. Very few people can do it and do it well. And she does. But it's hardly super labor intensive for an hour and a half a day. And it's so she gets a vacation every day. And I'm sure she's still working. Like what she does on my show is the small part of what her professional life is. She's a working model, a working actress. And I'm sure she's still busting her ass doing all that, even while we're not back in Burbank doing the John Campea Show right now. BMC writes, oh, lost it. We had a bit of a jump. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Crap. How far do we go here? Okay, here we go. BMC writes, just finished watching Shazam, Levi and Grazer steal the show. Didn't love the final battle, but I know Shazam comic book fans will. Second favorite DCU film. It is also my second favorite DCU film, only behind Man of Steel. And I'll just say this, BMC, all due respect, I loved the final battle. I got a big kick out of the final battle, to be honest with you. I really enjoyed it. But hey, it hits everybody in different ways. You're right. I mean, the performers in it are great. The kids are amazing in it. Zach Levi is fantastic in it. I thought Mark Strong was really good in it. But it's just so enjoyable. It's been a while since I've felt that coming out of almost any comic book movie where I can just say it was that pure enjoyable. You just enjoyed it. You know what I mean? Guys, get out, take BMC's recommendation. Go check this movie out because I think you're going to really like it. Richard Karate writes, over under 25%. The next Avengers movie is Avengers versus X-Men. Under 20%. I think there's going to be another Avengers movie. Honestly, I think there's going to be another Avengers movie before the X-Men even get introduced in the universe. So I'm not going to say 0% chance, but I'm going to take under 25%. Richard Karate writes, hand-to-hand, down and dirty, gritty fight between Bale's version of Batman and Cox's version of Daredevil. Who wins? Who wins, Batman or Daredevil? Batman. Who wins in a fight between Bale's version of Batman and Cox's version of Daredevil? Cox's version of Daredevil. That's just my opinion. Whatever. You guys don't have to agree with me, and that's all cool. Let's see here. Okay, where are we? Sorry, the jump is killing my other monitor here. Okay, here we go. Daniel Kilgrave writes, hi from Australia. Hello, Daniel Kilgrave. It's been a while since I've given you a super chat. I wanted to say thank you. I've been watching you since 2013 on AMC. You have helped me a lot in my fight with depression and anxiety. Well, that's awesome, Daniel. And it's, like I said, I always talk about this because it's great. One of the best things about movies is not just that the movies themselves provide a great oasis for us to kind of check out of things for a while, indulge in a movie, become refreshed, change our worldview, come back in with a different perspective and all that kind of stuff. But the film fan community can be that as well. And I hope that not just listening to some random movie fans talking about stuff, but also engaging online and talking to other film fans online, it can be a great asset and stuff like that. And I'm really glad that it's been able to be helpful to you. And I'm really grateful that you're sharing that with people, because I think a lot of people probably deal with stuff like that and don't always feel, or quite often will probably feel alone. So thank you for having the guts and the fortitude to talk about that openly. And I really appreciate that, Daniel. Thank you very much, man. All right. Arturo Beltran writes, thoughts about Endgame selling out 3-1 from Infinity War? Expected. Again, I've been telling everybody for ages now, people buying tickets in advance for opening weekend using online things has blown up in the past 6 months and the past year and the past year and a half. So it's just the way the trend goes. More and more people are buying tickets in advance than ever before. And so it's really no surprise that when the next up biggest movie of the year is coming, that it's going to blow those numbers away. And we're going to see it happen again. It will happen again. Because we haven't hit saturation yet on everybody using online ticket sales to get their tickets in advance. But it's a hell of a lot more now than it was a year ago. So honestly, Arturo, I know everybody's making a big deal out of it, but every time, like in the last year, there have been 3 or 4 times like such and such advanced ticket sales, defies expectations. And every single time I say, guys, don't let that fool you. It's not actually that big of a deal because more people today are using that method of buying tickets than before. So it only makes sense that these new records keep getting set. And I was saying that before Endgame, and I'm saying it again now. So people are like, 3-1, oh my God, that means it's going to make 500 million opening weekend. No, it doesn't. It's just that the people who are going opening weekend are buying their tickets in advance more today than they were before. That's all it means. Is it impressive? Of course it's impressive. It's a big deal, sure. But is it as impressive as like the way you wrote it out? It's outselling Infinity War 3-1. That's a little misleading. And it is in many ways, like we're talking about the Endgame trailers, it's a misdirect in many ways. Because substantially it doesn't mean that much. So just keep that in mind. Look, this movie is going to break records. It's going to do all types of good things. But again, I've been saying this for a year and a half. These advanced ticket sales records, they're interesting to note, but they're not actually all that meaningful. Opening weekend box office is meaningful, but the number of tickets that get sold in advance that contribute to that, not so much, in my opinion, at any rate. Richard Karate writes, best on-screen Hercules, Lou Ferrigno, The Rock, Kellen Lutz, Kevin Sorbo. I believe Sorbo is the best on-screen Hercules ever. He proved you didn't a Ferrigno or Rock physique to be Hercules and badass. Yeah, I don't know. Sorbo, who I've had a chance to meet, and it seems really, really nice. And my friend Erin Cummings had a chance to work with Kevin Sorbo on her movie Bitch Slap. Very nice guy. But his Hercules wasn't really Hercules. It was an Elseworlds kind of version of Hercules, you know? I'll say the best Hercules was Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, I'll go Lou Ferrigno. The Rock's movie was okay. The Kellen Lutz one wasn't that great. Kevin Sorbo as a CW version of Hercules, great. As a CW version of Hercules, great. Very entertaining. Was the world's biggest show for a long time. And he's great, but I don't really consider, when I think of Hercules, I got to admit, I don't think of Kevin Sorbo's Hercules. Even though it was the most popular show in the world for a long time, it was just a different version of Hercules to me. So I'm going to go Lou Ferrigno. All right. Chris Warden writes, I haven't seen hype for a movie like Endgame since Phantom Menace. I think a $300 million opening weekend is in sight, but I don't think it can top Avatar. There's just too much competition in the coming months. I don't think either will happen, but if I had to guess which is more likely, and it's just guessing, if I had to guess which is more likely, that Endgame catches Avatar for the overall global worldwide box office, or that Endgame makes $300 million opening weekend, I would guess it is more likely that it makes $300 million opening weekend. Because it's just a $47 million difference between what Infinity War made opening weekend and $300 million. $47 million. I still don't think it's likely, but it's possible. And it's definitely a more manageable thing than the fact that there was almost $800 million separating Avengers Infinity War and Avatar. $43 million separating the opening weekend box office record to $300 million. Almost $800 million separating how much money Infinity War made and how much money Avatar made. That is a much bigger mountain to climb. So my guess would be, if I had to pick which one was more likely to happen, I'll say it's more likely that Endgame hits $300 million opening weekend. Anyway, let's move on here. Curtis Lopez writes, I got tickets for Endgame Thursday night with my cousins, Friday afternoon in Dolby, and Friday night with my mom. Cannot wait. Look, the best thing about movies, especially these big event movies, is, and all movies really, movies are opportunities to create shared experiences. It's one of the reasons why I love going home for Christmas and taking my mom to go, or when I get to go to a movie me and Ann are really looking forward to, I get to spend time with Ann. We create these shared experiences together, and that's the best. When you can do them with family, when you can do them with friends, and you can do them for these big movies that you're really excited about, there's nothing better. There's nothing better than that. Now, again, like I'm saying to everybody who's bought multiple tickets over the weekend, I just hope the movie doesn't suck. Because there was one guy's like written to me, he's like, I've bought 7 sets of tickets for 7 different shows. I'm like, that's awesome. I really hope the movie doesn't suck. Because now you're going to be stuck with these tickets for a movie you don't even want to watch again. Let's see. I'm Upset writes, do you think WB will revisit the Legion of Doom? I don't think so. I mean, with them getting a little bit more light-toned, maybe, but my guess is no. I don't even know when they're going to revisit the Justice League, let alone Legion of Doom. So maybe at some point, but not in the next couple of years. Matt Makowski writes, Marvel Avengers Endgame is the most hyped movie this year. Joker, hold my beer. Well, I wouldn't go there. I mean, I cannot wait for Joker. You guys know me. Ever since they announced this movie, I've been losing my mind over it. A truly standalone film with one of the great actors of our generation, doing it as a character study. Love it. I cannot wait, and the trailer was amazing. don't fool yourself into thinking Joker is more, people are getting more hyped for Joker than for Avengers Endgame. That's just objectively, quantifiably, statistically proving not true. That's just not true. But I'm very excited for it. I'm very excited for it. Okay, Altan writes, follow-up question from yesterday with X-Men now in the MCU. Could Quicksilver be reintroduced? He is popular in the franchise. How can this be done? I don't know that you can without just bringing Quicksilver back, because you already had Quicksilver in the MCU. That's the problem. If there was never a Quicksilver in the MCU, you could say, oh, now we can bring Quicksilver in because the X-Men in the Fox universe is ending with Dark Phoenix, and now we can reintroduce that character or a new version of him in the MCU. But the problem is the MCU's already had a Quicksilver. And unlike Fox's philosophy of continuity schmontinuity, Marvel doesn't have that. Marvel doesn't have a philosophy of continuity schmontinuity. The only way you could bring Quicksilver back is reality gets rewritten in Endgame and everybody who's died in Endgame comes back. That's the only way. Other than that, they've killed Quicksilver in the MCU. So I don't know that we're going to be seeing him back unless they do something in Endgame to say everybody who's died is now back, which would cause its own problems, but hey, it's something they could do. Okay. Benjamin Waters just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Benjamin. Zuza U writes, Russos are trolling us. There is no misdirect. That's what I've been proposing. What if that, of course, they use misdirects in the Infinity War trailers, and they said, yeah, we're going to use more misdirects with Endgame trailers. What if that's a lie? What if them saying that is the misdirect? Just the fact that they're suggesting there are misdirects in the Endgame marketing, that in and of itself is the misdirect. I've been talking about that. I've been talking about that for a while. I think that's a very legitimate possibility. So it's something to keep our eyes on. Benjamin Waters writes, which studio had the best presentation at Cinemacon? Probably Disney. They all did a great job. But Disney heralding the momentous event of Fox and Disney coming together, the fact that they showed us the first full scenes of Aladdin, the fact that they showed us the first 17 minutes of Toy Story, the fact that they showed us like 5 minutes of Lion King, the fact that they gave us a great look at Ford versus Ferrari. It was just, yeah, it was good. Now, the Warner Brothers one was great. The Universal one I was really excited about and was really good. But I just based on all the material they showed us and how much hype it generated, I'm going to go with the Disney one. Okay. Ablai writes, what will be the best arc for the Hawkeye story? Oh, it's impossible to say. I have no idea. Because I don't know what they're doing with him in the movie. So I can't say what the best arc for his character would be because I don't know where we're going to find him. When we meet Hawkeye and we come across Hawkeye in Endgame, I don't know what his status is going to be. See, it's great I can say what I think the best arc for him would be, but I don't know that would be the best arc. I don't know if what I think would be the best arc would fit in well with what they're doing in Endgame or anything like that. So honestly, it's an impossible question for me to answer because I don't know what context he's in. I don't know how his context relates to the context of the rest of the world and what's going on in Endgame. And only by seeing that can I kind of develop a philosophy as to what I think his best arc would be. So I don't know. What the trailers seem to suggest to us is that he's lost his family and now he's completely lost. He's broken, it looks like, and he's looking for any way to get his family back. Which is a good arc for him to go. What else we could attach to that? I got to see the movie before I know. But it's only 3 weeks away, Ablai. It's only 3 weeks away. Matt Matowski follows up and writes, a couple things I want to say about the Joker trailer. Number one, it looks like the 70s movie about the 80s. It looks like a 70s movie about the 80s. Number two, more impressed with Todd Phillips than Joaquin. Three, my prediction is Joker is going to kill the Waynes. There's a lot of people who think Joker's going to kill the Waynes, man. And I just... Well, first of all, I am impressed with Todd Phillips, and I'm very impressed with Joaquin Phoenix's performance, the little that we saw in the trailer. I think this movie, Rob and I, we were talking about this yesterday. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but honestly, if there was going to be another comic book based movie that had legit Oscar potential, it looks like Joker could be it. I mean, it just looks like that kind of movie that would have legit Oscar potential. Whether it does and whether that works out or not, I'm not sure, but I'm really excited about it, man. I've been losing my mind for this Joker movie ever since they first announced it, and I cannot wait. And I think you're right. I think that he kills the Waynes. But the question that a few people have been asking, including on this show today, has been, will he kill Bruce Wayne? That's the interesting question. Because I agree with you. I think he's going to end up killing the Waynes in it. But does he kill Bruce Wayne? That's going to be interesting to find out. All right, thanks for that, Matt. Jeff Mullins writes, have you seen the money Endgame tickets are going for on eBay? No, I haven't. I'm sure a lot of people bought up a bunch of Endgame tickets, and they're going to try to turn them around, try to scalp them. It's disgusting. That bothers me a lot. That's screwing over fans. It's like, okay, so you got in there to buy 10 tickets so other fans couldn't, and now you're just going to resell them back to fans at a profit. F you. That bothers me. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind people who buy tickets to something, and then they find out, oh, I can't go now. Well, crap, I got these tickets. I'll sell them. Sell them at face value. You know, like, you took away somebody else's opportunity to get the tickets, and now you're going to manipulate the situation by now selling it to them at a marked up price. I don't know. I find that really scummy, but that's me. Rowan Bryant writes, do you think Die Hard 6 will happen? Well, they keep saying it's going to happen. They keep saying it's going to happen, but it's a Fox thing. And I don't know. Here's an interesting thing. When at the Disney presentation yesterday, they were going over the Fox things. They were talking about existing franchises that they're going to develop new chapters for. Aliens, which I didn't think they would, but it looks like they are. Deadpool. Damn it, what were the two other ones? Planet of the Apes was another one. And then there was an Avatar. They didn't mention Die Hard. Now, just because they didn't mention Die Hard doesn't mean that Die Hard won't be in their plans. That doesn't necessarily mean Die Hard won't be in their plans, but I don't know. I think a lot of people thought another Die Hard movie was probably a bad idea. They were talking about having it half flashback, half modern, and they'd be casting a younger version of Bruce Willis to be in the half of the movie, and Bruce Willis himself would be in the other half of the movie. But I don't know a lot of people that ever thought that sounded like a great idea. So I don't know that the Disney execs or Alan Horn specifically is going to find that to be a good idea. So my guess, and it's just a guess, they could do it. My guess is no, that Die Hard 6 won't happen. Hans Landa or Gruber? Ooh. Villain from Inglourious Basterds versus the villain from Die Hard. God. I mean, Hans Gruber is probably a top 3 or 4 best movie villains of all time. But man, Christoph Waltz, I'm gonna take a pass on that. That's tough, man. I'm gonna take a pass. Sorry, Roman. That's a great Sophie's choice. I don't know that I can pick one because they're both ridiculously good. Brandon Entwistle writes, been listening since 2012, 7 years. How time flies. Crazy, Brandon. Thank you so much for coming along for the ride, man. I really appreciate that. Ed Matthews, and you're right. Time does fly. 2012. That's when Argo came out. For heaven's sakes. That's when Argo came out. That's a long... Oh, wow. You're right. Time flies, man. Time flies. Ed Matthews writes, even though they said Deadpool would continue under Fox, do you think he could still pop up in the MCU to make cameos every now and then? It doesn't seem too out of line with his character. I don't think so, only because of what Bob Iger said. Bob Iger said he does not want to... Look, Bob Iger and Disney have spent decades very carefully, delicately, and purposefully cultivating their relationship and their reputation with their consumers. And one of the things Bob Iger talked about is he never wants to create any confusion with his consumers and which is a lot of families, about what they're getting. If you crossed over, this is what I think this is what Bob Iger would say to that. If you cross over Deadpool into a standard Marvel PG-13 movie, then when a Deadpool movie comes out under Fox, it may be a little bit confusing to thinking, oh, Well, he was in this movie. That was great. Let's go take little Billy to go see this now that he's got his own movie. Just like they did with that Black Panther fella, and just like they did with that Spider-Man fella. We saw them in Civil War. Ooh, so when they come out with their own movies, let's go take little Billy to see that. I think if anything, it would cause confusion. And I think that's the thing Bob Iger, who is the captain of a multi-billion-dollar corporation built on that very delicate relationship that they have with their consumer base. Iger's already said publicly that his number one concern with Deadpool would be making sure we do it in such a way that it's completely separate and creates no confusion for our consumer base. Now, you wouldn't be confused about it, and I wouldn't be confused about it, but, Sally Mommy with little Billy may not know the difference. And if she takes little Billy, because you put him in this movie that we could see, and then you put this out, and my little Billy had to watch Happy Women's Day with, Billy had never heard of pegging. Now he does. What do I do? Right? So you could, but it would violate what Bob Iger seems to be the most important thing to Bob Iger. Create no confusion, create absolutely no misunderstanding. Deadpool is its own thing under Fox. Because if you were to introduce him and have him pop up in regular MCU movies, you're basically telling parents, hey, he's here, see? So you can take little Billy to go see his movie. And I don't think they're going to want to risk that. I don't think they'll. Plus, I don't know how, from a practical point of view, you get a fourth wall breaking Deadpool in a Marvel movie. It doesn't seem to work. Maybe they could find a way, but I don't think they're going to do that, Ed. That's just my opinion. I don't think they will, because it seems to me that Bob Iger's been pretty clear about that. Maybe he changes his mind. Maybe. But then ask yourself this. Does the MCU need to have Deadpool in it? They seem to be doing pretty good without Deadpool being in their universe. Do they have to have Deadpool in their universe? I would contend that the answer to that is no. They don't need to have Deadpool in the MCU. He doesn't have to be there. So if you don't need him there, and he's going to do just fine on his own, then why would you risk that relationship with your consumer base by just having him pop up in cameos here? Like, what's the point? What's the advantage? What do you gain? If you're Disney, what do you gain from that? And I think the risk outweighs the gain. But anyway, that's just me basing on what I heard Iger say. Interesting thought, though, Ed. Okay. Haskell420 says, hey, John, feel better. Thank you very much. From everything I've read and those on YouTube who saw Terminator, OMFG, the look, feel, and epic badassery is blowing everyone's mind. Yeah, I still haven't seen it because I skipped the Paramount presentation because I wasn't feeling well. I stayed in bed till 2 o'clock. But I cannot wait to watch it. I'm sure I will get a chance to watch it. I'm sure everybody will get a chance to watch it pretty soon. But I've been very excited about that, and I want to see what we're going to get for sure. Brandon Entwistle writes, I live in New Zealand. Seeing Endgame in the same theater, the world premiere of Return of the King was shown. That's nice. Seeing it on the 24th, 23rd in the U.S., that's awesome. That's really great. Especially to be in a theater like that. Because I know for me, when I went to the premiere of Star Wars The Force Awakens, I was in the Chinese theater, and there's a magic to that because I knew I'm in the building that they premiered the very first Star Wars in back in 1977. And here I am. I'm in the same theater about to watch the premiere of the new Star Wars movie. There's something magic about that. I just love the feeling you get from that. And for you to be able to go to where they did the actual world premiere of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and be there to watch a movie like Endgame where you can soak in that history at the same time. Like, it was in this space that they first premiered Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, one of the greatest motion pictures ever made. There's a magic to that, and I'm really glad you're going to get to have that experience. Eat That Horse writes, Joker trailer looks like they're going to pull a Burton. Making Joker the one who kills the Waynes doesn't sit well with me. Am I just being a purist? Well, here's the thing, though. A purist about what, Eat the Horse? Purist about what? The comic books have constantly revised and changed and evolved their stories all the time. There was this one really, I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating, and I know Bryan Singer is a hot topic right now, but But that doesn't change, whatever is going on in his life doesn't change the insight that he gave in this one comment once. Back when he was bringing Superman Returns to Comic-Con, a fan asked him, because, the first pictures of Brandon Routh had come out in the Superman costume. And a fan asked him, I'm just curious why you decided to change the Superman costume, right? And Bryan Singer at the time gave a really brilliant answer. And he said, thank you for the question. Now, but I have to ask you, when you say, why did we change the Superman costume? I have to ask you, changed it from what? And he said, I've been working diligently with the DC artists. There have been 23 iterations of the Superman costume in the comic books over the years. 23. Some major differences, some just minor little things. But overall, there have been 23 different versions of the Superman costume in the comic books over the years. So when you ask me, why did I change the costume? I'm asking you, changed it from what? There are 23 different versions. In the comic books, especially DC with Rebirth and New 52 and like Crisis and all that stuff, the comic books are constantly experimenting, fudging, fiddling, and changing their stuff up. So for them to go in a direction that's a little bit different from what we standardly understand is really just carrying on the tradition of what the comic books themselves do, right? Now, again, eat the horse. We don't know that Joker's going to end up killing the Waynes. It kind of looks like maybe they will, and I'm guessing he will. I'm guessing that's what they're going to do, but we don't know that. That might not be the case. It may be the case, it might not be the case. We're going to find out. But if they do it, this is a standalone movie. It's an isolated world. If you're worried about the purist in you, though, like, Joker isn't 40 years older than Bruce Wayne or isn't 35 years older than Bruce Wayne. But in this movie, he is. So I'd say don't worry about it. Go into it as a standalone iteration and a standalone idea of a film. And I wouldn't worry about how it does or does not fit in with what we understand in the comics. One of the things that Todd Phillips said on stage that I thought was great, he goes, how do you explain an origin story? And how do you tell an origin story for a character who's never really had a definitive origin story? And that's the Joker, right? So I kind of look at it from that point of view, Eat the Horse. And let's just go in and see how it does. Maybe it'll suck. Maybe it'll be the greatest thing ever. But let's just go in and give it a chance. All right. Dream King writes, hey, John, with Adam Warlock having been mentioned at the end of Guardians 2, what percentage chance do you give Warlock of being in a future Avengers movie? If so, what ways could work best? Thanks and love the channel. Well, as far as what ways could work best, who knows? That would all depend on what they actually do in the MCU moving forward. Otherwise, it's impossible to say. But what percentage chance do I think we'll get him in the future? I think there's a half-decent chance that with James Gunn coming back, and Gunn is the one who kind of teased that a little bit, I think there's a chance James Gunn uses him in Guardians. Do we see him like in an upcoming Avengers movie? I don't know. Particularly not in the next couple of years. Certainly not until at least Guardians 3. And I don't even know if James Gunn is going to use him in Guardians 3 or not. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I'm going to give it a 18% chance. That's what I'll go with right now. I will give it right now an 18% chance. Is that true? Is it accurate? Is it way off? I don't know, Dream King. We'll find out. But I think we're going to get a much better idea once we see Guardians 3, but that's a ways away. James Gunn still has to do Suicide Squad 2, and then once that's done in theaters, then he can start on Guardians 3, and then it's going to take a year or two for that to come in theaters. So we're still a ways away, but I don't think we're going to get any kind of definitive answer on that until Guardians 3. And then we'll know a whole lot more. All right. AG System 120 writes, I think Shazam could make more money if it opens later in the year. 3 new films open on April 5th, and then 5 more on April 12th open wide. Look, yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I really do. I think it's going to be fine. One of the things I think Warner Brothers was thinking was they wanted to ride a little bit of the momentum of the comic book movies because of Endgame coming out. They thought maybe there's a little bit of that hype and wave of excitement for comic book movies, and I don't know that that's working out. I don't think people are getting more excited about Shazam just because Endgame's coming. And I think maybe Warner Brothers thought a little bit of that. And to be honest with you, that's not a bad gamble. That's a pretty good gamble. I don't know that it's worked out, though. Look, all I know is this. Shazam's great. And I really hope a lot of you guys plan to go to see it because it is a really enjoyable film that deserves to be supported. Go check it out. And then once you guys do, let me know. And by the way, guys, this Sunday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, we will be having our Shazam open spoiler discussion. So that gives you guys today, tomorrow, Saturday to go out and see Shazam. Do go out and see Shazam. And then we'll have our open spoiler discussion about it on Sunday. I hope you will join us then. All right. TJ54 just sends in a super chat. Thank you, TJ. Spencer Smother writes, if they release the Endgame clip, when would they? Oh, I don't know. Anytime. Anytime between now and April 24th. Tomorrow, next week, the 23rd. I don't know. Anytime. But there's a very small window, so it's not like we have to guess when over the next year will they release this clip. It's only 3 weeks till the movie comes out, so if they do release it, it'll be within the next 3 weeks. That much we know for sure. Logan Tamlin writes, I have to do a persuasive speech for school. I choose why the MCU is the biggest accomplishment in movie history. Any good things to cover? I disagree with your premise, but if I had to do a dissertation, if you will, on, if somebody were to give me that topic, say, John, you need to go into a debate and you need to defend this position. The position is, the MCU is the biggest accomplishment in movie history. Some of the things, I would start with facts. Facts aren't actually all that persuasive in subjective art, but if you're trying to do a persuasive speech, facts are always a good thing to start with. Talk pure box office numbers. 1 out of every 3 MCU movie has joined the $1 billion club. In 21 films, the MCU has made $18 billion at the box office. Nothing come close to that. 21 films now in 10 years. This type of result of the box office, blah, blah. I would start with numbers. Now, again, numbers don't accurately reflect art, but if I'm going into a debate, starting with actually verified, objective numbers is always a good way to go. So I would talk about frequency of the films coming out, pop cultural integration. I would talk about box office results. These are just great points to make and where to start when trying to make a compelling argument. Again, it becomes tricky because then you're talking about art and subjectivity and blah, 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 and that's very, very difficult to say. But start with facts, go with numbers, and that's always a good way to start. So that's my recommendation, Logan. Lone Wolf X6 writes, 1 batch, 2 batch, penny and dime. I can't remember where that's from, to be honest with you, Lone Wolf. AG System 120 writes, wondering, is it fair/legal for the theaters to bump movies to give way for Endgame? I thought those contracts were airtight. I doubt they will bump Shazam. There has to be the exhibitors or the movie theaters would absolutely have in their contracts that they have to have the flexibility to do stuff like that. Now look, they're not going to kick Shazam out of theaters forever to make room for Endgame, but on opening weekend, they will probably go, look, we're going to make a lot more money just for this weekend to add extra screenings. It's like for instance, my movie theater that I go to, AMC Burbank 16, when the first Avengers opened, on the first opening weekend, it was originally planned 4 or 5 screens. Tickets sold out massively that night. So they added another screen. And then they added another screen. And then they added another screen. And they kept doing that until eventually every theater in the AMC Burbank 16 on opening night of Avengers was just showing Avengers. Now those screens were going to have other movies playing, but they got bumped for that day. They got bumped for that day. I'm sure then they went right back into the theaters. Now, that means those films then came right back and resumed its regular running. And I'm sure that movie theaters have to have a little bit of that flexibility to do that. You know, we're not throwing your movie out of our theater, But these 2 showtimes we were going to have, it's just track. We have to put in this other thing for those 2 showtimes. And they'll probably make it up. Well, they'll probably make it up to those movies and those studios, but they've got to have that flexibility specifically for events like Star Wars and Marvel's Avengers and things like that. They've got to have that flexibility. So yes, they can do that. TJ54 writes, John, love all the videos this week. Thanks, TJ. We've worked very hard. You have no idea how kind of tricky it is to try to set up a broadcast studio in your hotel room by yourself, but I think I did a pretty good job. We're doing all right. This isn't the best video quality in the world, but I think we're doing okay. Would you rather sit too close or too far away in a theater? Oh, that's easy. Too far away. Had to get Endgame tickets a lot closer than I usually sit. I'm worried it will ruin the experience. You know, TJ, I wish I could make you feel better about that right now. But honestly, for me, I'm fine sitting in the back row of a theater. I'm perfectly fine sitting in the back row of a theater, especially with my lady. Anyway. I'm perfectly good sitting in the back row of the theater. You got a great view of the screen. Everything's good. It's not like you're in a football stadium where you're 700 feet away from the screen. Like you're just like 20, 30 feet back. It's a big screen. You got a great view. Sitting too close, though, is a pain. When you have to move your head to follow what's going on the screen, that becomes a pain in the ass. And the closer you get to the screen, the more you're doing this, the more skewed the picture kind of becomes for you. And I hate having to sit too close to a screen. Hate it, man. Hate it. So I wish I could comfort you right now and say, oh, don't worry, TJ, it'll be fine. Look, it all depends on the theater you're in. Like, there's a movie theater in Hollywood called the ArcLight Cinema where even the front row is a good seat because they position their theaters so there's no bad seat in the house. But even in my favorite movie theater, the AMC Burbank 16, front row is not fun. So, man, I hope you're able to have a good time. I hope your theater that you're going to has thought about that, and I hope that sitting close won't be an issue. But I'm nervous for you, TJ. I'm going to be honest. I'm a little bit nervous for you, but I hope you have a good time. Just make sure you buy tickets for another screening, too. Just make sure you buy tickets for another screening as well to make sure you get out and get a better, wider kind of view of it when you go see it again. All right. Luke Blackwell writes, John, do you think Vision is permanently dead because he didn't die from the snap? He died from Thanos removing his stone, and all those stones are destroyed. Well, nothing has said that the stones are destroyed. Let's be clear about that. The gauntlet may be damaged, but nothing has said so far that the stones are destroyed. Also, you got to keep this in mind, Luke. Vision has a TV series coming. The Vision and Scarlet Witch is coming to Disney Plus streaming. And I don't think it's going to be a prequel series. So I think something happens in Endgame where he comes back to, because, you know, Marvel, death schmeth, nobody dies. Every death is a fake death. They're all coming back every single time. Maybe even Quicksilver. They're going to find a way to bring Vision back. He'll be back. I don't think they should. I think they should leave him dead because that was dramatic. That was powerful. But they're going to bring him back because we have Vision and Scarlet Witch show coming. So yeah, it's pretty much a guarantee he's coming back. Lone Wolf X6 writes, John, I finally caught up on Supernatural and it was great. It took me only 2 months to reach the current episodes. Also, I miss Crowley so much now. Oh, dude, Crowley was my favorite character in Supernatural. I don't think they will, but I hope they find a way to bring Crowley back into season 15. It's the final season. I think he was in more Supernatural. The only characters who were in more Supernatural over the 14 years were obviously Sam and Dean, probably Bobby, although he's been off the show for a couple seasons, but probably Bobby, and Castiel. I don't know that anybody other than those 4 have been in more episodes of this show than Crowley, Mark Shepard. I hope he comes back. I really do. Omeg a Goat 24 writes, Cap and Tony shake hands after eating eggs and ketchup. Oh, so disgusting. So disgusting, Omeg. Luke Blackwell writes, just saw Pet Sematary, enjoyable but bad ending. Really? Oh, I don't like hearing that. I don't like hearing that at all. I'm really excited about this movie. Bad ending, huh? All right, I will keep my eye open for that. That's kind of how I described Us. I thought the movie's really good. Bad ending, but I thought a really good movie. And so the ending didn't bother me all that much because the rest of the movie was so good. Hopefully, if the ending is bad, like you're saying, hopefully the rest of the movie is good enough that it doesn't bother me or matter too much. Brendan Entwistle writes, still remember going to see The Dark Knight with my dad and childhood best friend. We were 8, 11 years later, I'm 19 and very nostalgic today. That's awesome, man. Because I had that same kind of experience. Like I was quite younger when I was like a young teenager when I went to go see Tim Burton's Batman. Like I was like 16 or something. And then years later, remembering, and it was, I've told this story before, but you guys remember about 2 years ago, my buddy died, who was my best friend growing up. His name was Brendan, and we went to go see Batman together. We went downtown Jackson Square, Hamilton, Ontario, to watch Tim Burton's Batman, and that was a kick. And I always get sad when I think about it. Anyway. So seeing every Batman movie after that always makes me think of that. So I can totally get that, Brendan. Cecil Manful writes, just saw Shazam. Wow, go see everyone. I'm glad you had a chance to see it, Cecil. So entertaining. Everybody, listen to Cecil. Go see Shazam. You're not going to regret it. I guarantee you. And then come talk about it with us on the spoiler chat on Sunday. Terrell Wise writes, best MCU trilogy. Captain America. Easily. Yeah, that's easy. Thor had The Dark World. Iron Man has Iron Man 2 and 3. To me, there's no doubt, Captain America. First Avenger is awesome. Winter Soldier, some people think this is the best movie in the MCU. Civil War, some other people think that's the best movie in the MCU. To me, no question, Captain America. That's just my opinion, though. Luke writes, what's your favorite score of all time? Any movie? Star Wars. Yeah, the John Williams thing. But you know what? That aside, and that just being assumed, if we took Star Wars out of it, Shore's Lord of the Rings stuff. I could sit down and listen to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack all day. Ba 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 da ba ba da ba 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 ba, like just the Shire score. But everybody has their own score, and it was great. Yeah. So if we take Star Wars out of it, I'm going to go Howard Shore's Lord of the Rings score. Your best bet writes, do you think, where are we at here? Do you think Marvel will put Miracle Man in the MCU? They went through the trouble of getting his rights and haven't done much with them. Look, it all depends on what you're asking. Do I think they will ever put him in? Ever? The answer to ever questions is always yes. There's almost no ever question that you can say no to, because ever is a long time. Do I think they'll put him in the next 2 to 3 years? No, I don't think so. It doesn't seem like that's the direction we're going right now. But ever? I'm going to say yes. And I'll tell you somebody who would really love to see that, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert is definitely a guy who would love to see it. He's talked about Miracle Man a lot. And as they evolve the MCU, we'll get to a place where he'll fit in better. So that's why I feel really confident saying ever, yes. In the next 2 to 3 years, probably no. But I know a lot of people would be very excited to see that best bet. All right. Rugo Kelvin writes, why are poor people confused? They don't... I have no idea what you're writing, Rugo. Sorry. Richard Karate writes, thoughts on the Alexander Skarsgård Tarzan, and will we get a sequel? Number one, we will not get a sequel. I liked it. I liked Tarzan. Samuel Jackson was in there. Margot Robbie was in there. I got a kick out of it. I did. Was it great? No. And it also did not do good at the box office. So, no, we're not going to get a sequel to it. But you know what? I thought it was fun. Was it great? No. Did it have issues? Absolutely. But I still had a good time with it. Let's see. Matthew Leach writes, word is Terminator Dark Fate brought the house down. Yeah, I'm hearing great things. I want to see it. I can't wait. I'm so bummed out that I missed. But you can just tell from my voice right now. I wasn't in good shape this morning. I couldn't go. But I am really, really upset that I missed the Paramount presentation. But I'm also hearing great things. And let's face it, none of us have been all that optimistic about this upcoming Terminator movie. Right? Let's be honest. None of us have been all that excited about it. Or at least not all that optimistic about it. It's great hearing this. Especially coming off of Terminator Genisys. It's great hearing this. So, Here's hoping. Here's hoping. I can't wait till we get to see it. All right, J Pro writes, big fan since the AMC Closet days. Keep it up. Thank you so much, J Pro. I remember those days. Those were good days. It's too bad the AMC HR department had to go and fuck everything up. Oh, well. But anyway, I remember those days. Those were great. And thank you for watching for so long, man. I appreciate it. Terrell Wise writes, can Shazam take down the Man of Steel? No, I don't think so. But again, it all depends on who's writing it, Terrell. It all depends who's writing it. One person writes it, Shazam takes down Superman. Another person writes it, Superman takes down Shazam. Superman is the god of superheroes. He is the Zeus of superheroes. He is the apex superhero. So yeah, actually, and in Injustice Gods Among Us, Superman kills Shazam. Like straight up murders him. Like very evil too, but he straight up murders Shazam. So no, I don't think he can, but it all depends on who's writing it. Okay. Alex Fleming writes, I've loved the Russo MCU movies, but my only worry is Endgame might detract away from Infinity War's ending by erasing it. Does that worry you at all? Oh, it completely worries me. It absolutely worries me. Look, one of the big things that, I love the MCU, I do, but everybody knows my one running complaint about the MCU is fake deaths. So much so that when we came to the end, that emotional end of Infinity War with Peter Parker going, oh, Mr. Stark, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. It was still very powerful, but it was diminished, though, for me watching the movie because, oh, he's coming back, though. Like, oh, yeah, oh, boo-hoo, he's dying, but sitting in that theater, he's coming back. And we saw T'Challa dust. It's like, oh, yeah, well, he's coming back. We already know they're doing Black Panther 2. And Doctor Strange dies. Well, we already know they're doing Doctor Strange 2, so he's coming back. And so it was still a great scene. I'm not saying it wasn't. But the power of the scene was mitigated by the fact that, well, we know none of these deaths are ever real. They're all coming back. So it kind of takes away from that. See, you watch something like Sons of Anarchy. All right? And I'm not saying Sons of Anarchy is better than the MCU. Just follow my example here. You watch Sons of Anarchy. When somebody dies in that show, you know they're gone. And so the power of that hits you so much more profoundly. Because that character is now gone. And I will never see that character again. And you feel, as an audience member, you feel that loss. Because you know they're gone. And I know Game of Thrones does it too, but move over, because there was Sons of Anarchy, which was very liberal in killing off your favorite characters. But they always had a powerful impact, because you knew they were dead. The MCU movies, you don't feel that. Because you know they're just going to come back. Whether by the end of this movie or in the next movie, they're coming back. We were just talking about Vision. Vision's got the Vision and the Scarlet Witch show coming. Black Panther died. Oh, yeah, but Ryan Coogler just signed to do Black Panther 2. We watched Spider-Man die when we already knew they had signed up to do Spider-Man Far From Home. So you lose a little bit of that. It's still good. It's still great. But it doesn't have that same impact that it would in like a television show like a Game of Thrones or a Sopranos or something like that, where a character died, you felt it because you knew they were gone. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to do that. And yeah, so that has been a worry of mine, Alex. But I'm going to go in giving the Russo brothers the benefit of the doubt that they will find a way to do it that makes perfect sense and doesn't take away from the emotional impact of what happened in Endgame. How they do it, I don't know, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt for now. Nicholas Hernandez writes, got Endgame tickets and worried kind of about too loud of a crowd. Oh man, I don't know, Nicholas. I want a rowdy crowd. I mean, rowdy as in cheering, whatever. Not rowdy as in talking to each other the whole time and so you can't hear anything that's going on screen. But I love a good rowdy crowd. I remember the first night in that the first Avengers movie, crowd was going nuts. I'm not talking about the press screening. I'm talking about the actual fan screening. Nuts. So I don't know, Nicholas. I'd be wanting something different. I'm going in hoping for a rowdy crowd. Richard Karate writes, Joker looks awesome. The scene with the little girl was bone-chilling. Oh my God, yes. Everything. That's the one that got me the most was one when Joaquin Phoenix is just crouched over without a shirt on from the back, and his back looks all... I don't know, man. That was chilling me, but there was a lot in that trailer, man, that looked bone-chilling. I cannot wait for this Joker movie. Cullen Prime writes, with Disney keeping the Fox division, do you think they will keep X-Men out of the MCU and just do a full reboot with Fox? Shazam was good, but not great. I disagree, Cullen Prime. I thought Shazam was great. Anyway, it would be my greatest love if they kept X-Men out of the MCU. I love X-Men in their own universe. But no, I don't think they're doing that. I think they've already made, overtures saying that they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU. I think they can use the Fox brand to do other things like Deadpool, but it looks like it's pretty definitive. I would love for them to keep the X-Men separate. It would be my biggest movie wish, but no, they're not doing that. They're going to bring, because everything has to be in the same cinematic universe. 15 superheroes in every 7-Eleven on every corner in every city. There's nothing special about any of them now. But anyway, that's just me griping. So no, they're going to, I wish they would, but they're not going to do that. Mary writes, hey John, sorry if you've answered already, but do you think they will have to recast the Shazam kid for a sequel? He's looking so much older already. No, because you can just have him grow up. You can just have him grow up with it. He can still play that for the next 10 years. Nothing says Billy Batson has to stay a kid to transform into the superpower being Shazam. I don't think you got to recast him, not until you reboot it. But I don't think you need to do that. He doesn't have to be that age. He can be 20. He can do that. And there's something special about growing with that character. Now, very, very few actors play a superhero role, as long as Hugh Jackman played Wolverine or Robert Downey Jr. has played Tony Stark. But you can do it. I think you can do it. I don't think they have to change the cast, because I love this kid. I think he's great. Awesome Spuds MC writes, who wins between Tony Ferguson and Khabib? Khabib's the baddest man on the planet. I'm convinced Khabib beats John Bones Jones. I'm convinced he beats Daniel Cormier. I'm convinced he beats everybody. Khabib, pound for pound, is the baddest man on the planet. Now, obviously, he can't go in and fight Daniel Cormier at 100 pounds heavier than he is, but pound for pound, Khabib's the baddest man on the planet. So I believe Khabib beats Tony Ferguson. And I don't think a lot of people beat Tony Ferguson, but I think Khabib does. EPW 2007 writes, Deadpool won't be done by Marvel Studios or MCU. Nope, it's going to be done by Fox, which I think is awesome. That is the best way to do it. Keep them separate. I love it. Maybe it means they'll do more movies that way too. Let's see. Kyle Pajora writes, hey John, in one of the end credit scenes, Adam Warlock was teased. Do you think he could possibly be hidden villain in Endgame? No. That's a James Gunn thing. I think, look, anything's possible. Let's just say that right up front. Anything's possible. So that's possible. But no, I think we're not going to see anything more about that until James Gunn brings him in. If James Gunn brings him in. So my guess is, while it's possible, nah, I don't think they're going to go that route with that. That's just too much extra you got to pack in the movie. I don't think they're going to do it that way. Now, again, I think it's a James Gunn thing. Okay, Lone Wolf X6 writes, Gabriel, if you're doing this for Michael, screw him. If he were standing here, I'd shiv his... Oh, that's right. I'd shiv his ass too. You disloyal... Oh, I'm loyal. To them, who? The so-called gods? To people, Lucifer, Supernatural. I would shiv his ass too. I liked the Gabriel character a lot. Another great line from Supernatural. Guys, honestly, check out Supernatural. It is not the greatest show of all time. It's not The Sopranos. It's not The Wire. It's not Sons of Anarchy. It's not Battlestar Galactica. It's not Breaking Bad. It's not Game of Thrones. But I have thoroughly enjoyed watching this show for the last 10 years. And I was late to the party getting into it, but then I got hooked on it. And next season, season 15, not this season, but next season, season 15 will be its final season. Get caught up to it before next year starts. because it is a really enjoyable show. Anyway, so thanks for sharing that, Lone Wolf. Darth Impact writes, where are we at here? Darth Impact writes, but John, what's the problem with you have with Stark having nanotech? It's not like there's a phone booth nearby. No, here's my problem. In the first Iron Man, one of the coolest things about it was Tony building the suit. He's an engineer, right? He's an engineer. And the fact that while it was still pure fantasy, they kept one baby toe of it in the realm of at least feeling in the real world. Yes, it was still fantasy, but at least they kept one baby toe of it feeling like this could actually happen. Like a brilliant engineer like Tony Stark could actually get into a workshop and build this Iron Man armor, and he's the only guy in the world who can do it. Then it became pure magic. Like, they started stretching it with, it's in this suitcase that then expands and covers the body. Okay. But now it's nanotech. And not only is it nanotech, it can do anything. Like, it completely defies the laws of physics, right? Matter can only take up so much space. Anyway, and his suit can do anything now. It's pure magic. It can do anything. It can do anything. Get a big gaping hole in my abdomen? No problem. Nanotech. I just spray some magic nanotech on my belly, and I'm all okay. Yay, nanotech. Magic. Just call it witchcraft. Just call it sorcery. Just call it whatever. It just undermines something that was really cool about Iron Man. The idea that you just get this guy who's so smart, who could build this stuff, and while it was pure fantasy and make-believe and sci-fi, it at least pretended in some ways to make it feel as if it could happen. And that was a cool thing. Now it's just magic and witchcraft, and it loses something for me. I still love the character, still love seeing Iron Man fighting on screen and all that kind of stuff, but to me it loses something that it had in the first Iron Man. You know what I mean? From magical nanotech. Anyway, Ian Nguyendu writes, in the 30-second spot when Carol is looking at the projection of snap victims, Eric Selvig is one of them. I didn't notice that. I saw Wasp, and I saw Wasp, and I saw somebody else. I didn't notice the Eric Selvig one. I'll have to go back and check that out. Thanks for the heads up on that. That goes into something somebody else was asking the other day. And I thank you for that, for pointing that out. Now you just gave me an excuse to go and watch the trailer again. I'm going to go watch that 30-second spot and see what he has to say about that. Okay, let's see. Oh, another jump. Give me a second. Okay, so we covered that. Inuendu. Okay. Dim Sum writes, thank you for posting the podcast on YouTube. Yeah, now, but remember, I'm putting the podcast, Best Movie, Worst Movie, on YouTube to give you a taste of it, because it's much better to listen to podcasts in a podcasting app than it is on YouTube. But I'm putting it there so you guys who want to give it a shot and give it a try, hopefully you'll like it, and hopefully you'll run over to your favorite podcasting app and subscribe to Best Podcast, Worst Podcast. Our new episode is coming this Monday. Keep your eyes open for it. Okay. And thank you for checking it out, Dim Sum. Lone Wolf 86 writes, where is it again? Okay, yeah. People, so you're willing to die for a pile of cockroaches. Why? Because Dad was right. They're better than us. That one's itching my brain. You know what? I'm not sure. I think you got me on that one. Drink Me writes, you like Weezer? Actually, no, I'm not a big Weezer fan. Oddly enough, which is weird, because and I'm not crap talking them at all. They certainly got a lot of fans. Their style of music is kind of in my wheelhouse a little bit too. So it's weird. Like, I don't dislike Weezer, but I've never actually been a Weezer fan, to be honest with you. Haskell 420 writes, first, thank you so much for this epic and fun week you and Rob gave us. Oh, thanks so much, Haskell. I'm glad you were able to come along for the ride. 2, I shared all of your 3 best movie, worst movie videos on my Twitter. Got to get the word out there. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you for taking it upon yourselves to become evangelists for the best movie, worst movie podcast. Me, Cody, and Rob have a great time doing these things. So thank you for checking them out, and thank you for sharing it around, Haskell. I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Saxon Thaler writes, hey John, thoughts on the Pokemon Detective Pikachu footage shown at the Warner Brothers panel? Any further thoughts on Paramount Sonic footage? I didn't see the Paramount presentation because I was under the weather this morning, so I didn't see it. Yeah, when we talked about our the Warner Brothers presentation, the one movie we forgot to mention was the Detective Pikachu footage. Couple of things. Number 1, they had Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu introduce the clip on screen. Hello, Cinemacon. And it was really funny. It was really, really funny. I have been ever since the trailers came, I wasn't excited for Detective Pikachu until I saw the trailers. And I thought the trailers were hilarious. And I've gotten excited about Detective Pikachu. That being said, they did show us a clip from Detective Pikachu. And I'll be honest, I love Ryan Reynolds. I am excited for this movie. I thought the clip was crap. I'll be honest, I thought the clip was crap. It's the scene that you see a bit of it in the trailer where Pikachu and the boy are interrogating the mime, right? And they're interrogating. We got ways to make you talk. Honestly, I didn't even grin during it. I thought it was kind of cringy. And it's the first thing that has made me a little bit worried for this Detective Pikachu movie. Because I have loved the trailers. I think they're great. But this scene they showed us, I thought was pretty bad. I thought it was pretty crappy. And I know Rob didn't like it either. Now, I haven't talked to anybody. Maybe everybody else loved the scene they showed us. I actually thought it was pretty bad. And it's the first little concern I have for this movie. We'll see how it works out, though. Darth Suthius writes, hey, Mr. C, hope you're better. Loving the shirt. Denim? Yeah, this is a denim shirt. I like my denim shirts. I don't know why. Because I have no fashion sense, everybody. We've already established that. It's a good color. Thank you. Blue is my color. It looks good on you. See, you do have fashion sense. Never doubt yourself. Oh, I doubt myself. I have very bad fashion sense. I have no sense of fashion. But I do dig the shirt, I got to admit. Thank you. So you're the first person in maybe my life that has complimented me on my fashion sense. I appreciate that. Jay writes, John, Thanos said he ignored his destiny once before. Think that's addressed in Endgame? Also, thanks for the heads up about the ticket sale date. Oh, my pleasure, man. No, what I think he was referring to, I think it made it pretty clear in Infinity War what he was referring to. He was referring to Titan. That he tried to warn everybody on Titan that something was coming, we should eradicate half our population, and he didn't do what he knew he needed in his mind. He didn't do what he thought he needed to do to prevent Titan from being ruined. And ultimately, his world perished. So I think that's exactly what he was talking about. He says, well, I ignored my destiny once, like to save Titan. And I think he feels he's responsible for that. But I think that's what he was referring to. So I think that's already been addressed in Infinity War and doesn't need to be addressed again in Endgame. Guy Volt writes, what makes more money, Hobbs and Shaw or Jumanji 3? Ooh, that's a good question. And by the way, I call it Jumanji 2. But John, Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle was a sequel to the original. I get they're saying that technically. It was a reboot. I know, but John, you saw Robin Williams' name was... Yeah, I get it. It was still essentially a reboot. I still call this new Jumanji coming out Jumanji 2. But whatever. That's me. I'll guess Hobbs and Shaw. Hobbs and Shaw and Jumanji 3 are both movies that could be billion-dollar films. It's going to be close. You know what? If you ask me next week, I might say Jumanji, but right now I'll say Hobbs and Shaw, but don't hold me to that because I think it's razor close. Again, you might ask me the same question again in 2 weeks, and I might say, Jumanji. It's so close, Guy Volt. But they're both going to be huge. Lord of Thunder, Prince of Stars writes, theory. Endgame starts with them telling Captain Marvel what happened, but it's going to show montages of death, including Barton's, over the conversation. I don't know. I think she might know. Because remember, the decimation is underway by the time Fury hits that pager. And it's taken her days or a week to get to Earth. And I think she probably knows what's happening in the universe around her. So it's possible. I mean, that what you're putting forward here, Lord of Thunder, does fit. That fits. So they may do that. But I have a feeling she might already know. We're going to find out in 3 weeks. So again, the nice thing about your theory is that it fits in with what we know is happening. So it could be. They could do that. Ben Rayner writes, 2013, I got back from seeing Man of Steel and on YouTube looking for some reviews, and I found you, Schnepp, and Clark Wolf talking Man of Steel, and 2019 still following. Well, thanks so much for that. But it is funny to think about the Man of Steel thing being that long ago. But it's been a while since the AMC curtain closet days and all that kind of stuff. And it is funny to this day how many times I hear from people who tell me, I first found you from your Man of Steel review, which I loved, obviously. And yeah, it's been an ongoing theme ever since. So thank you for that, man, and thank you for coming along for the ride. Storm Chaser 78 writes, would you, or who would win, Shazam or Superman? Or somebody else asked that a little bit earlier. I think Superman. Superman is the apex superhero. And again, even when you just go into something like Injustice Gods Among Us, like Superman killed him pretty easily. But again, it all depends who's writing it. Somebody may write it will think, I think Shazam should win. And then somebody else will write it think, I think Superman should win. If it's me, Superman. Superman wins that fight. Darth Suthius writes, I was planning on seeing Endgame before work down the street, but because this Regal doesn't have assigned seating, I have to work out different timing for another Regal 30 minutes out of the way to work. Dude, Dark Ages. Why the hell is there a modern... I got to readjust my padding here. Why the hell do we still have movie theaters today that do not have pre-assigned seating? Why the hell does that happen? There's no excuse for it. It's very, very easy to implement that into your theater. There is simply no excuse why some theaters are still existing in the dark ages like this. It's ridiculous, it's pointless, and it causes great inconvenience for people like you, Darth. Now you got to go somewhere else to go see your movie because you know you don't have to show up 3 hours early to get in line just to maybe get a good seat. You get to pick your seat in advance, you know where your seat is, and you get to say, oh, there's no good seats left. Okay, I'll just pick a different show time. It gives you that option. But instead, they want you to, do it like in the olden days. Come to our theater 5 hours early, so hopefully you can get a decent seat. It's such freaking ridiculousness. It is the dark ages. There's no excuse. It's easy to implement. Why are there still some holdout theaters that are holding on to this 1960s way of going to the movies? It's stupid. Anyway. But there are Regal theaters that still have them. There are some AMC theaters that still don't have them. There are Cinemark theaters that don't have them. They're all starting to come around, but there is simply no excuse for not already having this implemented. This is 1990s technology to set up some software that just does pre-assigned seating. It's easy. No excuse. No excuse. And I feel bad, Darth, and now that you got to drive out of your way to go to another theater. I mean, look, all first world problems, obviously, but... for film going should be easier than that. Anyway, let's move on here. Cecil Manful writes, next Deadpool film has him watching / narrating MCU events, i.e. Endgame. Way to stay out of the MCU, but know it's there, break the fourth wall. Completely agree. See, I believe you can do Deadpool in Fox and have him referencing the MCU, but you can't do, at least if you want to stay true to what Bob Iger wants to do, what you can't do is bring Deadpool over to the MCU, but you can drag MCU elements over there, I think. including that season. I think you're 100% right about that, by the way. Zach Taylor sends a super chat. Thank you, Zach. Gabe Schembarger writes, did you see how the last Flash episode ended? Nope. I've been here in Las Vegas. I have not had a chance to see Flash, so I have not seen how the season ends. So no spoilers, please. I'll watch it when I get home. But thank you for bringing it up, Gabe. Zach Taylor writes, oops, another jump. Zach Taylor writes, over under 7%, the name of the next map. And by the way, guys, we've been going for 2 hours now. My throat's pretty wrecked. So I'm going to finish off the questions that we have. But I'm going to ask that if you've not yet sent in a super chat, don't send in anymore. Don't worry, we're going to have some videos over the weekend. We're going to have the John Campea Show tomorrow. If you have other questions, you can bring them up then. I'm just going to ask that right now you're not sending anymore because I want to get to all the questions that people have sent in here. Okay. Zach Taylor writes, over under 7%. They named the next Batman the day Endgame comes out. Would it hurt the buzz for Endgame? Oh, God, no. No, nothing at this point is going to hurt the momentum of Endgame. No. And they're not going to announce the title of Batman. That's not going to take attention away from Endgame. Not this. I think they're going to hold off on the name of the Batman movie, which, by the way, I think is probably just going to end up being The Batman, which is a good title. I think they're going to announce who's going to be Batman. I think they're going to announce maybe even a release date, stuff like that. I think they're going to make all that big stuff will be done at Comic-Con. I think they're going to own Comic-Con with Batman, and I think they're going to do that there. So I'm going to take under 7%, Zach. Hands of Stone writes, if Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp have switched release dates, would the box office results for each film be the same? Well, it's not. I don't know. That's a good question. If Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp, which are the two films that came out in a row, had switched spots, would the results have been the same? See, there was a narrative purpose for having Captain Marvel leading into Endgame. So there was a narrative reason for doing that, not a business one. But I'm going to go on a limb and say, would they be exactly the same? Probably not, but they'd be roughly in the same ballpark. I think they still would have had their results. Give a little, take a little, but I think they roughly would have been the same. Luke Blackwell writes, have you ever seen the Wrong Turn movies? I saw the first one, which I thought was okay. I got to admit, though, I never saw the follow-ups. I never did see the sequels after that. Trey Dunlap just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Trey. Charles Durai writes, found this show 2 weeks back. You are doing a great job. Thank you so much, Charles. It's nice having you around, man. My question, number one. What really happened between Terrence Howard and Marvel? 2, any update on Nolan's next? Well, I mean, Nolan, there have been a few. By the way, I generally only take one question per super chat just so I don't get overloaded. But as far as the Christopher Nolan things, a bunch of news has come out in the past couple of weeks, mostly with casting. We got Denzel Washington's son, John David Washington, is going to be playing is going to be starring in the movie. It looks like Rob Pattinson's going to be starring in it as well. Other than that, no other details than that. What really happened between Terrence Howard and Marvel, the best thing to do without me trying to go into it for an hour, look up a video on YouTube. There's this video of Terrence Howard doing an interview talking about the complete breakdown between him and Robert Downey Jr. and what happened with Marvel. But search for that on YouTube. You will be able to find that interview. It will explain it far better than I can. Far better than I can. I think what it came down to was that they wanted to... they didn't want to give Terrence Howard a raise. I think they had promised him because they wanted to keep their budgets down. And I think that's the start of it. But anyway, like I said, that's the best place to go and find that answer because he'll explain it way better than I do. And again, Charles, thanks for coming along and being a part of it now, man. Gene, where'd we go? Gene Check writes, just saw Shazam, Pet Sematary, and Best of Enemies. Oh, I haven't seen Best of Enemies. I love to have 2 A-list subscriptions. I've seen over 30 films since December 26. That's awesome. Yeah, it would be good to have 2 of them, right? Sign up with 2 different credit cards and 2 different names so you can go to 6 movies. But still, the A-list thing, it gets you 12 movies a month. It gets you 3 movies a week. Most people can't do that many. But that is great that you've seen, wow, 30 films since December 26. That's impressive, Gene. Good on you, sir. Diego Mendez writes, Hey, John, do you think Thanos really felt the responsibility of having to save the universe by eradicating half of it? Or maybe it could be that what happened in Titan really turned him crazy. I think it's a little bit of both. There's a reason his nickname is the Mad Titan. He is a little insane. And look, the thing about his insanity is he really does see himself as the good guy. He's evil. He's terribly evil. I've been getting these people recently saying, John, Thanos isn't really a villain because he thought he was doing good. Every villain thinks they're the hero in their story. Almost every villain thinks they're the hero of the story. And if you were ever confused about that, murdering trillions of people, there's nothing heroic about that. There's nothing heroic about murdering trillions of people. And on top of that, go back to just Eitri, right? At Nidavellir. Eitri was like, Thanos told me to make this, and like making this for him would save all the other dwarves, and he murdered them all anyway. He murdered them all anyway. And then he wrecked his hands, so he can't do anything else. He is evil. He is a murderous, horrible, evil being who does see himself as the hero. Like a lot of evil beings are. They think themselves the hero. And I do think what happened on his planet did drive him mad, hence the name, the Mad Titan. Yeah, so I do agree. I think that's all. I do think he feels the responsibility of it. I do think it drove him crazy. And I think it just kind of tapped into an inner evil that was always there. But make no mistake, dude, he is evil. He is evil. All right, Django19 sends a super chat. Thank you, Django. Guys, I appreciate you wanting to send super chats, but please do not send. I notice you guys are still firing in super chats. Please do not send in any more super chats. Let's see. Gene writes, also, seeing Endgame 10 times opening weekend. Gene, it's especially for people like you, my friend, that I really hope the movie's good. Because now you've bought tickets to see it 10 times. I hope it's awesome. Anmal Bajpai writes, do you think we may get Black Panther, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Wasp, Doctor Strange, and Captain Marvel post-Endgame Avengers team, or will some stay out of the team as allies? Black Panther is the king of Wakanda. That's the thing. His responsibilities are there. So is he going to be a full-time Avengers member? I don't think so. Is he going to move into the Avengers, base? And all? Nah, he's king of Wakanda, so he's got to be doing that. Doctor Strange sees his responsibilities defending the, what's the name of it? What's the name of it? The something has to be is unguarded. I forget the name of it, but maybe he's got to be there. But it's physically very close, so Doctor Strange could. Ant-Man, I think, will be a permanent Avengers member. Captain Marvel, probably. Spidey, probably. And then I think there's going to be a few other surprises along the way as well. I just had the name of it too. What is the name of the damn place the building that he defends? The Sanctum. The Sanctum. That's right. The Sanctum is undefended. That's what Wong says. The Sanctum is unguarded. He has to go back to the Sanctum, right? That's why Wong didn't go off and help defeat Thanos with everybody. He had to guard the Sanctum. Okay. Don Stiletto writes, just got back from seeing Shazam. It was great. I'm so glad you saw it. I'm so glad you enjoyed it, man. That's awesome. Anmal then writes, I'm just curious if all the new franchise heroes lead their own films, will come together for an Avengers team, or is it just wishful thinking? Look, what their plans are for Avengers moving forward, we have no idea right now. And we are honestly going to have to get into Endgame and see Endgame to really start to develop our understanding of what that's going to look like moving forward. It could look completely different than what any of us are even thinking about. It may be characters that we all already have. It may be a totally new set of characters. For all we know, Captain Marvel is going to have nothing to do with the Avengers. Maybe the MCU is going to go completely into space for the next couple of years and not tell stories on Earth at all. I doubt that. I mean, Black Widow movie's coming, Doctor Strange 2, all that kind of stuff. So, but we're really going to have to get into Endgame to get a feeling for that, Emma, and then we'll get a lot more answers. All right, John Early writes, Jeremy John said, poor Jared Leto, because Leto's Joker is sandwiched in between Heath's and Joaquin's. Nobody wants to be part of that sandwich. That's true. That's true. I honestly, look, I know this it's an unpopular opinion, and fine, I'll live with that. I think Jared Leto's Joker is underappreciated. Did they misuse that character? Yes. But I still thought the character they created was pretty good. And I liked Leto in the role. I thought this was a very different kind of Joker. I thought the gangster Joker, I thought there was an appeal to that character. And a lot of people didn't. And now we're going to get Joaquin Phoenix, and he's going to maybe win an Oscar for it. So I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out. Gene Check says, same card for both. Oh, with the AMC stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, I've said before, I will say it again. AMC A-List is the best thing to happen to movie fans ever. It's the best thing to happen to movie fans ever. I just absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. And guys, that will do it for today's installment of Open Mic. Here, a special one on a Thursday. Don't forget the John Campea Show returns tomorrow, and I'll be back home tomorrow as well, tomorrow morning. And I hope you guys will come and join me then. We'll go over some movie news, probably sum up a little bit more stuff that happened here at Cinemacon. This has been a great week. And guys, thank you for coming along for the ride and joining myself and Rob when he's been here talking about CinemaCon and all the great and exciting things that we've seen. And now it's time to get back in the movies, and the countdown has begun, guys. Endgame's almost here, but don't forget Shazam's in theaters this weekend. Pet Sematary in theaters now. Some great movies to go out and see. Get on out there, see those movies, and then share your thoughts. And don't forget, on Sunday, we're going to have our Shazam open spoiler discussion. And again, don't forget, best movie, worst movie. I've put up the episodes we've had so far on the YouTube channel so you can check those out. But then once you check them out, go and check out and subscribe to it on a podcast app. It's a much easier way to listen to those things than on YouTube. All right, guys. My voice is done. That will do it for me for today. Thanks so much for being here. When you see me again, I'll be back at home. I can't wait for that as well. So my name's John Campea, and until next time,